What are you doing, Maya? Alrighty, this is just a little intro. Let me set this down. Hey guys, I just want to make this quick little intro to the podcast before I get things started. I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in, and thank you to all of those who have been contributing to the conversations on Instagram and on the Discord. I'll have the Discord linked in the description down below. I just want to start off by saying that this podcast is essentially brought to you by my 9-to-5 job. So it's something that I'm kind of funding for myself to have everyone else be able to be part of the conversation. Thanks, Maya. So definitely spread the word, send it around, whatever people usually say for podcasts and stuff. But I just wanted to say that this is the first episode. It's with Adam Merrow. It's a guy that I've done a decent amount of work with over the last year and a half. And we have some nice, deep conversations. Adam will be back a little bit further on, too. So far, I've recorded about 3 podcasts. This is definitely the longest so far. It's 3 hours. The next one is about 2, and then another one is going to be about an hour. Besides that, enough of me talking. My cat is climbing however she wants, I guess. All right. Okay. On with the podcast.
I know I saw your intro and it was actually that was nice.
Yeah.
Really went all out.
Let me get my headphones going. Wow. Oh, there we go. I can hear everything. I can't see ourselves. All I can see is the camera, but
I think the next investment is definitely a screen, like small HD, so you can.
Yeah, just put it right there. Yeah.
It's a little bit nicer.
I definitely want to be able to have those conference rooms, like I was talking about in the chats, just so that it's it's not necessarily because it has to be. I just want to have a nice place to go
like
an
ECC.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you said that they're booked out. Is that why we couldn't do it there?
They were just closed. So I was actually talking to Alex, and he was there, and he just said that everything was
gotcha.
Closed up.
Oh yeah, because it's the winter semester.
Yeah. So I guess they close
home for Christmas.
Yeah, they close early on the weekends. On the week, it's so Friday, Saturday, they're closed, and then I think they're only open a small window.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But I mean, this works. The setup works. It's nice.
Yeah, even though it's a real mess. But awesome. So this is apparently the first time ever recording. I think it really makes sense that you'd be the first person that I'd get to do this with.
I feel
because
I think so.
I definitely think that out of all the people that I've met and talked to, it's to actually anyone that's motivated me to actually get to do something, it's been you.
Yep. I try to we had this conversation the other day, and I try to be the motivator for most people that I know, because I didn't really have that, growing up, and I see when I can see potential in people, I try to really bring it out. Sometimes I'm bad about that with myself. I'm a much better motivator for other people than I am for myself. That's a double-edged sword for me. But yeah, no, I'm super pumped to see this to fruition.
Yeah. I can definitely say I'm the same way. I used to be just full motivation, doing something all the time when I first found out about it. I didn't even know that I was going to go into this kind of trade until college.
Yeah.
When I first started out, I thought I was going to do graphic design or something. Yeah. And I started off at ACC, and I had to take a photography class. And I remember I was so bad that my teacher, Sean, who was actually in the group,
yep.
I was I don't understand how people are able to focus their cameras on stuff that's really close. My camera just keeps autofocusing, and he comes up and he just turns the autofocus switch off to manual.
Oh my god!
And it's really funny because now at Race Supply, it's people come in all the time.
Yeah,
and they have the exact opposite.
That was you. That was you when you first started. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's when I look back at old photos that I did. I found this hard drive finally from it was my first ever external hard drive, and I found it the other day. So I was going through it and like looking at old photos that I took that I was like, yeah, these are so good. They're not. They're horrendous. And then it's funny you fast forward because, now with the preservation of everything, it's all digital. You can just see year after year. It's like, it's amazing what you learn in this short amount of time too. I mean, it's only been, like going on 9 years, I think, of doing this, and just the 9 years, the amount of knowledge that I didn't think that I would be able to have in this, and it's all self-taught, which is even crazier to me. And there's still so much to learn, but yeah.
Yeah, just even setting this up, I was like, holy shit, how do people do this on a daily basis? Like, this has been such a learning curve just for all the audio.
This whole setup is insane. Like, it doesn't look like much, but to get it to where it is right now, is crazy.
Yeah, even the whole like just getting something registered.
Yeah.
For like, not registered, we had to like submit everything. Like, I didn't know any of that until I started researching everything, and it's like, I should have just done this on my phone and just like shared it with people. Yeah. And that's like, that would have been it. That would have been fine.
Well, I mean, in the way the world is going now, this is it.
Yeah.
So you have to, if this is the route you want to go, then this is what it's going to take, to do it, between voice and video and everything. And I'm glad that I was able to help you kind of push over the edge for that, and to be the first person here and to see this, and just in the short period of time that I've known you, which is less, I mean,
probably only like a year.
It hasn't been that to really know you. Like, I've known of you, and I've seen you like around like at the store and stuff. But to really like, when I had you work for me on those weddings, and just to pick your brain, it feels like a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. This idea hasn't even been a full. I think we really talked about this in March. Maybe. Yeah. It was March, I believe. Actually, it was the first wedding we did this year. It was in March.
Yeah, because
Yep.
Well, let's kind of get like a background of like us, and then I want to get into like a background of you, like specifically, because if I'm gonna
my
be
life is just what I could make. The movie I could make about my life is amazing.
Yeah. So just for preference, people are gonna know about me because I'm gonna interview a bunch of people, but I work at a store called Ray Supply. It's people know it as a small camera store, but we don't only do camera stuff. But that's where I had started, and Adam had come in, and I was just talking to him, and then Tom, one of the guys that I work with, he kind of knew who he was, so he showed me like his Instagram, and then I was just kind of talking to Adam because he kind of had this like really quiet, like cool guy vibe going on. Where he was just
that's what I was going for, so I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah, he was like, I do all these films, and I just need like a nice 35 millimeter Sigma. And then I think he ended up getting it and then selling it.
Oh, you know what I was doing? I was headed to, I bought it. Where was I going? I think I was going to Florida for something. I think I was going to shoot dirt bikes in Florida.
That's probably it. That's
and
where you go.
Yeah, because I even said that when I bought it. I was like, I literally need this right now because I'm just going to sell it anyway, because it was a 30 mil, 2.8 cheap. Focus was trash.
It was like $250 or $300, something like that.
But I needed it for my gimbal setup I had at the time. So yeah, it was like the first real interaction, I guess, with you. And then I'd pop in and out, and because we always had good conversation about the nerdiest stuff. Mm-hmm. So, which was cool because
if only we started it then.
I seriously
just start recording. I just need to record every person that comes into the store. Sometimes it's weird.
Well, you do with your Snapchat.
Yeah, that's true.
Which everyone should see because that's great.
But yeah, so I just remember like always saying like, oh yeah, I do all this stuff. I don't really get the chance to, but it'd be really cool. And then I've never gotten into your business.
Yeah.
Really, because you started off with Nina.
Yep.
And now it's just Adam Merrow.
Yep.
Is the brand, right?
Yep. It's just Adam Merrow, the brand. And just me as a person.
It's weird because I'm trying not to put my name on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I don't want it to be something where if I fall off the edge of making these and people still want to be able to post, like, because I want to make it like a group kind of thing. So yeah. I want all the
no, that's fair. That's to have like a team, like I guess a team deal with it. So if you found another avenue of some interest, someone else that is interested in voice and podcasts and things could take over.
Exactly.
Which makes sense. But for me, it's like, it's like any artist, I guess. That's kind of how I thought about it. The greatest artists don't have a brand that they made. They made their brand as themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the avenue I wanted to try.
You want to be the Kanye of video?
Maybe. I mean, I'm probably as insane as he is, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah, if you ask any of my other friends. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah. So I don't remember when it was, but I just remember the first thing that we did together was you had me edit a video. I don't remember.
It was actually, yep. It was a video that I shot at the end of 2017. And I just, because I had so much backlog work that I couldn't keep up with it, and I was working a ton at my other job, and so I had you do it just to see, because you had always talked about it and always asked, and I was like, all right, that's fine. See what you can do. You did, and you did a good job, like, for the first thing, and I just kind of let you run wild with it. And then it was after that it was in March that I had you do an actual wedding with me. That's when I had the C100.
Yeah.
And you loved it. You fell in love with it.
Yeah, that's why
I think I sold it like a week later.
Yeah, I modeled my rig for holding my A7R3 video after the way the handle goes forward.
I remember you were so obsessed with it because you would hold it like this, and the footage was good though. I mean,
I can get good footage.
The only thing with Zach when he films is he just never shuts the record button off.
Yeah.
Ever. He just records 35 hours of footage. And I sit there in my studio and I'm just like, all right, when's he gonna turn it off?
Yeah,
but he never does.
That's when I was also like editing a few of them, and then you gave me a couple like just full on like we shot, and then I edited them, and that didn't last very long.
No, it's interesting how wedding films work.
Wedding videos
they're tough, and the wedding industry taught me a lot actually, and it showed me what I like and don't like about filming. You learn a lot with weddings. You really do, with people, how to deal with people, how to deal with good and bad, because there's a lot of it. It's just such a roller coaster of emotions with the wedding industry. And when you're editing, I know that you're like me. You like to storyboard. You like to have a plan. And you like to have it be clear and cut. And with weddings, it's not. And it's a disaster all the time. It really is for the most part. And you get those couple good weddings that are where you're like, yeah, this is really good. I want all of these all the time. So I can see how just throwing that at you was tough.
There were times where I was literally, I would fall asleep at my computer, like my head just like down on my desk.
I think that was the point where I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna take this away, because you should not be stressing yourself to the point of sleeping at the computer.
And that's what I do. It's so bad. It's like I want to strive so bad at this stuff that I will just like destroy my health.
That's what I was doing for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then I got so burnt out, and just even this year is tough. I had a super busy year all year, and then I'm trying to get rid of backlog footage that I have, and it just never ends, I swear, because one thing leads to another. Like, I do a lot of stuff outside of filming where I'm always busy, or I travel a pretty decent amount, and it just all piles up quickly.
Yeah.
And my organization skills could be a little better.
Oh, yeah. I try to do I can do organization.
Oh, you're super organized. You have seen my hard drives. I'm the worst at cataloging anything in the correct order. It's just like file dump, and there's 1,000 files, and you're like, fuck.
Even just the test video for this, I made a separate folder, and it was like podcast recording 1 Adam, and then made a separate folder in that like podcast recording, and then podcast edit, and then podcast final.
See,
and then I made a separate thing. It was like test folder, and then I labeled that one, and I was like, ooh, just because I'm not, I have to be organized. If I'm not, I will just lose everything, and then I'll go crazy.
Yeah, if anyone was to go through my hard drives, they would come and kill me, because it's so chaotic.
Yeah, but it works for you.
And it's like my studio. It's controlled chaos. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Know?
It's like you have your own, like,
well, that's the creative space that I need to be in order to make some of the things that I do make. And it's weird. My creative process is super weird, just like everybody's. I think.
Yeah,
has their own like way of the way they do things and how they get ready and to get into that mind state. It's weird.
I mean, it's funny because like I have a lot of miscellaneous stuff, but you definitely have each thing that you have. I feel like is very purposeful, and if it doesn't serve a purpose, you get rid of it. You can see just like how many cameras you've had in the last 12 days.
I know, seriously. I've recycled cameras like an insane amount. I've had, you know what I had, and it was one of my biggest regrets that I sold it. It was D810. I remember I wanted that camera. Good. I was probably one of Canon or Nikon's best full frame bodies they've ever made, even compared to the D5, with like dynamic range and color science. It was just.
I think we have a D5 or D4S or whatever the hell at the store right now.
I had went all in on this, and bought a 300 mil Nikon lens, and I shoot a lot of dirt bikes. For anyone that follows me on Instagram,
That's the only thing
is mostly dirt bikes. Mostly dirt bikes, my dog, and when I travel. That's what you will find on my Instagram. But so I bought this camera, and that thing was insane, but I just wasn't ready for that. And where I just wasn't ready for that kind of gear, because that's a lot of gear for somebody, and I still had a lot to learn, so I sold it, and then cycled through some other stuff. I had some good Canon bodies and everything, and then I picked up some really cheap Sonys and started a film business. And
Sonys are great. I hate the color science.
The color science is trash, but I love to color, as a lot of my friends know, because I post a lot of that in my Instagram stories. Coloring is one of my favorite things to do. So to tweak it, it's a lot more frustrating at times, especially with like practical lights and things that aren't actual sunlight. But they're cheap, and especially if you're trying to get into filmmaking. Oh my God, I filmed for 2 years straight with two A6300s and some pretty terrible glass, and made what I made, and it came out pretty decent for the little low budget that I had.
Yeah, I think for one of the weddings, a couple of the weddings, you were just using like the 18 to 55 or the 816 to the kit.
Oh,
lens.
the kit lens that comes with the 6300. It's the 18 to 105 f4, and it's a good lens, but it's not great. Like the glass is pretty.
It's plastic.
You can pick up the whole kit for like $900 off eBay or something like that. That's what I sold it for, I think, when I just sold everything.
Which is not bad for a camera that does 4K.
It does 4K.
It does
120 frames, which people say it's not good and usable, and I've shot good promotional paid work on it, and it's good. It's definitely fine.
I've used it for that one Manny Rebel music video.
Oh yeah.
You can definitely tell that there's
a difference.
There's a muddiness.
There's a muddy, but as long as you film it correctly with enough light, you can get it to work.
Oh yeah, it was perfect. It was overcast, so it was like the light was just everywhere.
When I went to Florida this year, I rented an FS5 Mark II, and there's a difference in the 120 because that shoots 10-bit, and it's really nice. But for if you're low budget like I was, that's what you need. That is the go-to. Autofocus is killer. The only thing that sucks is you need 7,000 batteries if you're gonna film a wedding day, but.
You know what's actually pretty cool is right now I have this camera. I have it just plugged into the ground to charge it, and you can get if you can get a powerful enough battery backup, you can actually charge them with it. This, for some reason, I got it to work once. And,
to charge through the USB-C.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for some reason, like I was using my phone and charging from the battery backup, and then like it. For some reason now it just puts it in like USB mode, which it thinks that it's connecting to a computer.
Okay, interesting.
Anyway, that's a little tangent.
Yeah, where were we going with that?
You were going with your early kits.
Oh yeah, my early kits to get me started. I even up until this last year, 2018, I used two A6300s and rented A7R3 a few times, A7 III, which the A7 III is an unbelievable camera for the price point. And anyone that knocks it clearly hasn't tried it and pushed it to its limit, because I deal with quite a bit of things, whether it's filming sports or weddings or just doing whatever with it. It's a killer camera. It's $2,000 and it's full frame. It's a good camera.
The low light's pretty good. Like this is okay in low light.
The A7 III definitely, because I have footage from this, and it definitely is way better, for sure.
Yeah.
But obviously 42 megapixels is pretty nice.
Also, I have like this lens is an f4, so it's like it's so weird the difference between, because right now I have the 24 to 105. It's like, it's funny. I don't know if we should be completely just talking about film to the audience, because I don't know. Some people just don't know anything about cameras.
Oh no, they don't. But I guess that's just a little bit of background on me and my gear collection. But
hey,
it for the people that do care, and people probably think that we have these big fancy cameras. No, not right now.
They are big fancy cameras for who we are.
Yeah, they are.
For spending every single dollar I make.
Yep.
Goes into
to
my
do
gear.
this, but that's the fun part.
Yeah, I won't say how much, because Brittany doesn't like it when I talk about how much. Brittany's my fiance. How much money I make this year now, because I'm making significantly more.
Yeah.
Not just because of my 9 to 5, but because of working with you.
Yeah.
I now work with Brain Work Studios every now and then. And I was like, wow, I made like a decent amount this year, and then I was like, looking at my bank account, I was like, wow, I spent like all my money.
That's how it works, though. That's exactly how it works. You the more you make, the more you spend. But
and I'm still living the same.
Yeah, but
lifestyle.
the thing is, though, you're invested in the right things, which I'm super proud of you for.
Yeah.
Because when I met you, you had a cheaper, D series like crop sensor Nikon, and
no, it wasn't crop.
Was it?
D750 is full frame.
Oh, it was a 750.
It just
I
has
thought
the
it was the
worst
1000 series.
No. It was a 750. It just, the video itself was garbage.
Yeah.
Like, you should not record.
It was actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't that bad. You did make some pretty cool stuff with it. I've seen, like, for the little knowledge that you did have at the time.
Yeah, I still have that drone. That one that's
I know,
on
I
the
was just
ground
checking
right
that
there.
out, actually.
Yeah, I just want to get rid of it. Actually, I was talking to Alex. I'll see if I'll just give that to him. Or yeah. It's really bad when you have like gear that you hate and you spent like a decent amount of money on, but you hate it so much that you're willing to just like lend it to people for months at a time with no payment.
Yeah.
Like, that's what some of this stuff has come down to. So like, I don't want to like make people think that we have like all this crazy money that we're like,
oh no, I'm broke as the next guy. So are you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, it's not glamorous by any means.
Yeah. It's not so much as like making a lot of money doing this stuff. It's like, honestly, if I don't make a single dime from any of this, like even this group with collective people and everything, that's fine. As long as I get to do it. Like, if I'm working my 9 to 5 every single day, but at the end of the day or on the weekends, I get to do something related to this, that's like.
Yeah. I mean, this is the outlet. But I think that the creative group that you did initiate is huge for this area, because there isn't one for this local region, and is what the city's trying to push to make it a more creative place, and they're not doing the best job. Personally, I don't, and I know people on the board.
The only thing is like architecturally, that's about
it aesthetically looks cool. That's great, but there's no place.
Yeah,
like there's nowhere for anyone to go.
I know that a lot of people, just because of my means of what I do now at work, is that there's a lot of just older retired people that are moving into the area, and it's just gonna like make the cost of living go up.
Oh, absolutely, it already is.
Just because it's like artsy, but it's not.
Well, and that's
artists.
Well, again, and this is where this all stemmed from, and was the conversation we had when I said you need to create the culture, because if you don't, someone else will, and you never want to be the last person to get on board with something.
Yeah.
And while this isn't a new thing, it's definitely newer to this area.
Oh,
and we're so far behind, and like people think that this stuff is insane, and they're like, oh, I see it on the internet, as if the internet's some crazy foreign place.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not. It's right in front of you. You are it. Like the internet is the machine that wants content. So if you're not going to make it, someone else will.
Yeah.
And they'll respond to it, whether it's on a major, or on a macro level, or this is minor. But you never know.
And it's crazy too, because like with the group that I started just like the other day, comprised of almost like 25 people.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
And I think like 5 or 6 of those people aren't local. So 20 people.
Josh being one of them.
Yes, Josh. He lives in Vermont, right?
He lives in Burlington, yeah.
Burlington, yeah.
Which is cool though, because that was I'm glad that I was able to make that connection with you two, because you guys hit it off super well at that wedding.
Yeah, that was nice being able to follow him around.
That was cool. Well, that's kind of why I was like, he's a very talkative guy. He's very interesting. Got a cool story.
He's from New Zealand.
You're the same way. You like to talk. You're very.
He's got one gauge that's like slightly bigger than mine.
He's a ginger. So
hopefully we can get him. We were actually just talking before this.
Yep. He's a little late to the party, but
I think a nice video chat with him, or even if he's just in the area, just like literally just grab all my gear and go. That'd be cool to do like a I was gonna say a 3-way, but
yeah,
just do a 3-person podcast just to have like a little.
Yeah, we need a bigger table if that's the case.
But. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so where are we going with that?
I don't know.
We went off the tangent with my gear, and then
we were just talking about you for a little while.
Yeah,
that's the best part about podcasts without having a script.
I guess.
I want to know more about your history specifically. Okay. I understand like where you came from.
Yeah.
And I know that everyone that is in this sort of realm of like artsy, not even like art, just like a creative, like you can do anything, has a similar background. It's like they did something when they were younger and they wanted to do it, and now they're doing it. But.
I guess where it all started was I went to this really tiny school in Vermont. I think my graduating class was like 15 people. It was small. It was really small.
That's after the
I said graduating class, but it was so small that it only went up to 6th grade. Like that was it. So my graduating 6th grade class, there was like 15 of us, maybe, and that was just a small town in Vermont.
That's crazy.
But I had this art teacher that was like really, she like picked me out of everybody, and actually there was some controversy at school. It was insane looking back on it now. But I could draw, I guess, at the time, and I saw my sketchbook, and I was horrible, trash. But when you're, 4 years old, they're like, oh, this could be something. So and then that kind of just stuck with me as I started to move and get older. I moved to New York, and that's where I went to high school and graduated to another small town, and kind of throughout, I just was exposed to action sports young, which is why I'm so stuck on it with my content. If you look at it, I had some family that did some things with winter sports and stuff, and I just have, I know a lot of people in the action sports world. So that kind of just stuck with me, and that's why I follow that, unlike conventional sports. But yeah, I got my first camera. Me and my friends used to ride bicycles. We actually started vlogging again, and I know you mentioned that.
I saw that, yeah.
Tyler and Luke, the Mellow Boys vlogs.
I know Luke. I met him at
ACC, yeah.
And I know, what's his name? His handle's someone's butt cheeks.
Oh,
what's his name?
Oh my God, he is so funny.
I know him from track. Like
yeah,
he was like
he is insane. He runs like a gazelle. And he's in insane shape too.
He was this is another tangent. He was a distance runner. He used to run in cross country, run the 5K, which is 3.1 miles, and he would literally just come in first by a landslide. And then it comes to like track season, and his coach would put him on the 400-meter hurdle race, which was like entire loop around the track, quarter mile. And he would still just dominate.
Yeah, no, he was insane.
Like it was stupid. Like no one usually has sprinting, jumping abilities and can run distance.
He's he goes to Buffalo State, I think.
Something. He's always like
he's out there, but he films actually too, and I didn't know that because I
need to get him on the podcast.
He's his personality. I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah, and he drums.
He's a multi-talented. He's
multi.
He's got red hair. It's the red hair thing. I swear to God.
He's mulatto, and he has red hair.
It's just he's a rare person and a good dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I, as a kid, started to film my friends and I. I was the one that filmed. I just had, because that group always has, those people. You were probably that person in your friends group.
I didn't really film. I was very artsy. I did draw a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice, like I didn't even think of it then. But when I got my first iPod Touch,
yep.
I was just always taking pictures for like memory's sake, and then eventually I would kind of like try to frame them up to be artsy, which I didn't even think about it then.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I do now, but with a higher end gear.
Yeah. So I had this. I used to use whatever I could, disposable cameras. I remember it was a Samsung. The thing was horrible. I broke 2 of them actually. Video cameras. We used to film. Oh, I'm sorry.
What did you come up with?
We used to film us riding bicycles and snowboarding and doing whatever stupid stuff, and then we got out of it. We just stopped one day. It's like that quote that's like, you go outside with your friends and that's like the last time you're gonna play. You don't know that's the last time you guys are gonna play.
One day you go inside, you never go back out.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, and so we just stopped and we all grew up. Kind of, I guess, grew up in a sense and went our separate ways for a little bit. I moved to Florida for a little bit when I got out of high school.
Is that why you're always going back there?
But I moved to Florida to pursue photography because I wanted to go to college for it, but it didn't work out. And I had been, at this time when we still separated, I was still doing photo work. I was still trying to learn. I was really into it. And I had a photography teacher in my junior year of high school that really pushed me, brought me to Pratt Institute down in Brooklyn, and had my portfolio reviewed, had it tore up completely, and that was the turning point, actually, which is that was my senior year, because I was kind of late to the game trying to get my portfolio reviewed. I was in New York City, took some pictures, and then graduated and moved to Florida. And I look back at the pictures that I took in New York City compared to what was in my portfolio, and they were tenfold better. And it was just kind of like that fire. So I tried to do some things with dirt bikes, and I did for a little bit. Met some super cool people that are really, really good homies now. So then I moved back here, went to ACC, went to school for business. And I stopped taking pictures when I moved home and went to school. Sold all my gear, didn't touch a camera for years.
Wow.
So I didn't touch a camera for 2 or 3 years at all. Didn't have one. Was just working 9 to 5 because that's what you're supposed to do. And worked another job too, and that's all I did was work. And then I realized how unhappy I was. And Nina, actually, kind of, she was into taking pictures, which kind of like relit that fire a little bit for me. And she kind of,
like, you guys didn't meet because of
no.
that's cool.
And so she kind of like would push me to take pictures and do this thing, and then it kind of got me going again. So then I really got into it, and that's, then it turned into what it is today. And I film now for myself under my name, as we talked about before. So I guess that's like the recap of how it all started. But as a kid, I guess, like you said prior, I was just an outcast. I was never a popular kid in school, ever. In elementary school, high school, I didn't play sports. So when you don't play sports in high school, you're cut out already. You're done.
That is pretty true.
And I rode a BMX bicycle, so you're automatically put into a certain group of people it was bad. And but I met Tyler, who is one of my best friends, and I just hung out with him, and we just rode bicycles and rode dirt bikes, and now it's like, well, we look back on it now, and it's like, man, we're still doing that. Like all summer long, in the winter we're doing stuff. Like, we're still doing that same stuff now, and we're filming it again. And that I said it in one of the vlogs, I think, that I feel like a kid again, and it was so good. It was so refreshing to do that again, and like to find this excitement of creating, because we live in a world now where you can, and it's like, it's cool, where this wasn't cool.
No.
Well, it never was. And like, you'll see that all over the internet. People say that. It's like, now it's cool to do this. And
it's like how being a nerd back then is like, it was like stupid. And now it's like, everyone's a nerd and everyone wants to be a nerd.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same thing, but
it's crazy, the world we live in now. And I think that I had a plan when I got out of high school, and this definitely wasn't it. I was on track to do certain things, and then I chose this lifestyle and whatever brings this, and it's pretty crazy. It's
What
fun
is
though.
this lifestyle?
I guess more just you never know. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a big world of unknown, and you don't. One day it could be here, and one day it could not be, because you're relying on the internet that's what you're doing, because you're making this stuff to show to other people, not on a macro scale. That's what you want to do. Is you want to that was your goal in the first place, and the internet, and if it goes away, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and then you're stuck to the 20 people that are around here, and that's it. So, and the only reason why we're able to talk to them is because of the internet.
Because of the internet.
It's like I might see 2 people regularly, and that's because
we don't even see each other regularly.
No.
Not as much as we used to, and we don't live that far away from each other.
Yeah, you literally live 3 minutes down the road.
Mm-hmm. And I live even closer to your work. So.
You do, yeah. Although it's like, you don't want to stop by my work too often, because then you're going to...
Well, no, because then we have conversation and we sit there and we talk for 4 hours, and then no one gets anything done, and I have things I should be doing.
Because I'm not retail anymore, and you're going to spend all your money, because I'm going to be like, hey, look at this new thing.
No, I already spent all my money.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
That's the best part about a job, is that you can... As long as you have that job, it's like you always have more money to spend.
Yeah. Nope. I spent all my money, so that's scary, but...
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I've definitely been lucky enough to, I mean, don't get me wrong. The couple of jobs that I've had, there are definitely stressful times. But I've been lucky enough to at least say in overall, it's like I've had a job where it almost doesn't feel like I'm working when I go to work.
That's kind of
that's the 9 to 5. That's not like media or anything like that.
See, that's nice when you can find that and be content and be good with it, and still be able to do this stuff. The two don't really interfere with each other, which is really nice. Where like I worked for UPS for 9 years now? Yeah, 9 years, and that schedule always conflicts. It was always really tough for the weekend thing, and you never know when you're gonna get out, so you can't shoot after work. And so that was tough. That was tough to walk. Like at the time when I had walked away from the company, that was a scary moment, because you go from making a good amount of money, and you have you're comfortable, and like you take that leap, and that cushion's gone. You better land on your feet and figure out how to go, because no one's gonna catch you.
That's when you start messaging people like, "I need a job."
Well, that's when you reach
work.
out to people and you're like, "Listen, like this, I gotta make this work." This is the same reason that I did what I did with my gear, where I sold everything and bought my Red, which we'll introduce in another video, which I'm super excited.
That's fun.
for.
Imagine just doing this. We were talking about that. Just doing this with a Red. It's like, why?
That's super exciting.
We'll just turn off the audio and just watch the beautifulness of what that is. You won't even need any of this equipment. We'll literally just attach the shotgun mic.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped for that though. That was a scary moment for me, when I bought that.
So what do you have right now?
What do you mean right now?
Like what is in your gear that you own and you have? Like you can go home and just say, this is all my stuff. Like did you sell like everything?
So if you walk into my office and you look I have this big tall shelf thing. There's nothing on it. I have no gear. Currently I have no gear.
You got rid of your sliders?
I sold. I unloaded everything. Everything went on eBay and it all sold in a week, and I've been gearless for 3 weeks, almost a month now. And
that's why you were like feeling up my camera when you got here.
Yeah, because I haven't played with a camera in forever, but I did it for the reason of, which not too many people know, and they will soon enough, because by the time this comes out, that I bought a Red, and I pray that it all works out, because that's a big investment, and that was a scary moment for me. I remember I texted Tyler and Luke, and I was like, this is where it starts. This is what we needed. And my creative, like, and it's never about the gear. And I've heard that, and you've heard that, and everyone said that. But that I believe, with the amount of time that I've taken to learn things with coloring and camera movements and narrative storytelling, that camera, I think, will help with the process. And I know very few people in this very local area that have I don't know anyone actually in this local. On a local scale, that has that kind of camera power.
Yeah.
Locally, no one does. And if they do, I hope that they come out of the woodwork and talk to us, because that would be super cool to collaborate with them. But if they don't,
I just know that if I ever bought a Red, I would instantly like my computer would crash. I would try to I'd mess up the files.
We know how slow my computer is, and I'm not pumped on that.
My computer was chugging today, just editing Brett's video. I'll show you. I'll have Brett on the podcast, and his video hopefully will be coming out.
I'm excited to see the finished product, because it's been 4 years since you started that video.
Yeah, it's been
it's been a while.
It was May.
Yeah. But I thought about that with storage and stuff. I'm just gonna eat through hard drives. I'm not excited.
You're just gonna delete everything you have.
I probably will actually in 2019. I'm gonna reformat everything and start, because I have, I don't know, 12 terabytes of space that is taken up with just stuff.
Well, that's only gonna be 3 days of shooting.
Yeah, I know. But my whole goal with that was and that it's kind of led me to where my background and everything that I've learned and done and people I've met and some of my inspirations have led me to and talking to you too gets me super pumped to want to build a creative world in this area more. And that's kind of why I took that leap and be the first locally that has that kind of cinema power to be able to really create some cool stuff out of this area and show that it's not just, in the city in LA and these certain places where people always go to film. If you watch any vlog, or they're always going to New York, always going to LA. And
I don't want to do that. I've been to
city. The city's cool. You get a lot of inspiration in the city, and it's very. I have friends that live there and that work in TV production, and they love their lifestyle. Is so cool, but that's just not. It's not for me, and I know that there's people that don't
want to dirt biking. It's not necessarily just the dirt biking, but just having the space, the fact that I live on a dead end road.
Yeah,
and it's you live in an area where there's a park right across the street, and I don't know. I've been to Los Angeles. I've been to New York City a couple times. I've never stayed in New York City for very long. It's always been either a quick trip, school related, or work related. Literally, we just had to go somewhere for a couple hours and we left.
Yeah.
So it's I've only been there for a little while, but I just don't like cities. I don't like Albany, and Albany is very small.
Very small compared to any of those big cities. There might be some. I know that there's some production companies in Albany that might have some stuff, but I'm trying to. My whole goal is to build, and I think yours is as well with this group, is to create a creative group that we can all lean on a little bit. If someone has an idea, it's okay, well, I know somebody in the group that can, see that through with you, and I want to be able to have things readily available to be able, if someone gets inspired, okay, they can rent the gear at a decent price with good glass, and that's just not a thing here. And I want to make it, the standard. And you have to, again, you'll hear it a million more times, is create the culture.
Yeah.
And
to create the culture,
I'm willing to put myself and my things and everything that I have on the line, in hopes that people see that and respond well to it. That's what I hope, and I hope that this helps see that. With the people that you do have on this, I hope that they each add value to somebody out there.
Definitely.
So even if it's locally too, I hope local people respond to this well and are okay, there are people. They're just, and I think that's the other issue, is the networking that people have is. We're not doing it right. Clearly, we're not doing it right, because some of the people I've never met, and we all do the same thing, and I'm guilty of it. My networking skills aren't as good as they should be.
Yeah, it's actually funny because just working in retail for that year and a quarter that I was working retail, where people would come in, and I met so many people that literally just live just down the road, and I'm how have I never met this person? And I've been doing this for 5 years. Yeah,
it's crazy. And
then even
me, that is like this.
I want to go back to college. That's where I met most people. That's honestly where I met a lot of these people.
Yeah.
There's a few guys on there.
I think that, sorry to interrupt you. I think that, and I'm not sure this could have changed, but I think the local college could do a better job at
oh my God.
They could do a better job at having a creative space that's easily accessible to current and past people that have went to the college.
My coffee's cold. Yes. I remember there was like all these groups, and so the local college near us is a small community college. Pretty much anyone can go there. I was working quarter time, and I was able to go part time.
Yeah.
And it's a cheap, nice college, but the people that are there are very friendly and very creative. The only thing is that everyone's busy, and this isn't like the highest income area.
No, absolutely not.
So usually the people that are going there also are doing what we were doing, where it's like we get to work.
Yeah.
So it's like the only times you really get to talk and collaborate are during class and in between classes, and
which is usually short. It's very short for the most part. It I mean, maybe 40 minutes. An hour, unless you're like one of those people that has 2 breaks in a row. But that's very few.
People like me. I went for my media arts degree, and
that's the other thing that bothers me is they push the whole media arts thing super hard, but they don't provide all of the accessibilities that they should if they're gonna try to have these people go that avenue.
Yeah.
Again, the conference rooms, they have a million of them, but they have no creative space to be able to do, let's say, because the
gear that they have is pretty old. But I think that's just like funding. Like literally the cameras that they would rent out were like the film, well,
even their DSLRs or their cameras that they're, I mean, they're just shooting on broadcast cameras, broadcast capable cameras, but they're
like, we could have actually just gone, and they have a film, like a radio room. We could have just recorded this in, but you need an account and all that other stuff to log into their computer. So I would have had to unplug everything.
Yeah. I just think that, and that's kind of where I would love to see this go, is even in kind of have a move throughout, but have a creative space within the city that you can go to, and you can rent out a space within the building at a reasonable price. And when I say reasonable, I'm not talking $1,000 a month, but like for a few hours, a day, a week, that is affordable for people like me and you, where that's just not, it's not a real thing to charge an arm and a leg when you know you're never going to get it, and there's no space for that. And I think there could be.
Yeah.
There's plenty of buildings in Glens Falls that sit idle.
There's the building right next to the church on Warren Street that was just opened up.
Yeah.
It's for like for lease.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that'd be dope to just like.
Well, there's a building right on Glen Street. It's for sale. It's right next to Downtown Barbaco.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Mike Booch.
Yes, that one right there. Yeah, I saw that.
That's
Does my mic sound weird? Is it okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds all high pitched for some reason.
No, it's fine. But there's a building there, and it's like Casey's 368 building. It's almost to a T, and that's kind of where the idea came from. That's what he's trying to do, is create this space that you can rent out for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, and he's got different things that you can use in there, and that's kind of like the business model of it. And I think that would be huge because you could easily get funding. I think you could. Not easily, but I think if you had a conversation with the school, because they did in the 14 Hudson building, they did the culinary part. And you could integrate the media arts.
Yes, I saw
and then
that.
it brings the media arts into the creative space downtown. And why no one has thought of that yet blows my mind, because I know that the school has the money, because they just spent all that money on the culinary. And they
need to do more auctions. I remember the other year they just auctioned off like a couple of things. It's like they auctioned off a MacBook Pro. Like those things cost like $1,200.
Yep.
And they sold like, there was like $10 a ticket, and they sold like, they probably made like 15 grand just from selling one item.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of people bought it and were like, oh yeah, $10 to win a $1,200 MacBook Pro. It's like stuff like that is such an easy thing for a college to do.
Yeah. Well, I just think that there's opportunity, and how they're not seeing it, because while it's relevant on the internet now, it becomes relevant locally once it's seen. So more people, and especially with the demographic of kids that we have here, I think it would personally be smart, and it would be huge. It would be so good for the creative community.
Yeah.
And to be able to integrate that as well, it creates a better place, more desirable for people to come to. You drive that. There's one hand washes the other with that, and I hope that maybe we can help make that impact and see and have the be maybe in a meeting and have those conversations. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
To look back on that and, see that idea through. That's what I would like to do, is to see that idea through.
I definitely think it's kind of sad that right now that creative space, which I haven't
doesn't exist. Not here.
It's that local it's that Spot Coffee on Glen Street. That's the
but that's any coffee shop vibe.
No. Yeah, but that's our like this little coffee place that's
or there's Spectre Coffee too.
Spectre, yeah.
You could go to Saratoga. That's a whole and we have Saratoga. It's the same thing, and it's extremely frustrating, and it's dominated by certain people in this area that, whether it be video, photo, or marketing, there's certain people in the area that kind of dominate it, and on purpose, so that no new can come in, and you kind of have to kick the door in.
Oh, and the format for design here is that Adirondack, because we're in the Adirondacks. If you guys don't know, we're in upstate New York.
Yeah, we are.
It's that Adirondack like wooden, like handmade style. Even just like.
Yeah, no, it fits the vibe of everything. It's very Adirondack-y. And that's the best term you can use, because when you say the Adirondacks, you think of rustic and wood and a certain.
But the issue is that Glens Falls doesn't.
No, and that's the thing. We're so close to it.
Should we be saying all the places that? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. What do you mean? Absolutely.
Where someone we live? Listens to the podcast and like, oh, I hate these guys. Where they live? Glens Falls. Okay.
Good. Let them. Let them. Somebody said this yesterday, something like that, and I referenced Jay and Silent Bob at the end of the movie where he knocks on the door with the phone numbers because they got all the money. You've never seen that? Oh my!
I've seen parts of
this. Is what happens when young kids are neglected, folks. Right here, this kid right here, 27.
27. Mm-hmm. I'm 23.
Yeah, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Well, you're not that much younger, but it does make a difference.
Yeah.
4 years makes a difference for sure. And I actually had this thought the other night. I was in the shower, which is where I come up with some crazy ideas.
That's why they have the subreddit Shower Thoughts.
Yep. But I was just thinking about where I was even a year ago. Where I was creatively, just where I was completely a year ago. And it's what's the date today? What's it?
Today is December 16th.
Okay, so my 2018 year was a just whirlwind. It was just a whirlwind of, I don't even know. I can't even go into some of the things because of of what they are, but it was just wild. It's crazy. It pulled me in so many different directions. I met so many people and had these so many opportunities to go these places, and it was so cool. And I think back to then and then now and where I am, and it's crazy that I look back 2017 was nowhere near. I never thought I would get to this point because I was really like trying to dive into video, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is going to be.
So you must be real sad to think about where you were when you were my age.
You
were working at UPS.
It's the worst. It's the worst when you think about how much time you wasted in the hamster wheel of just your 9 to 5.
That's how I am.
It's crazy
on a daily basis. Mostly, it's like it's one thing to present yourself to an audience or to just people that that you are a highly motivated person. Mm-hmm. When every single person, I don't care how if they're one of those people that they're always making something, everyone will sit down and just not do anything for anytime they get the chance. Mm-hmm. The last couple weekends, I just literally sat down on the couch and watched Netflix and YouTube.
I didn't do anything today.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say that.
There goes the dog. Jumping at the door.
Yeah. She wants to join. I did a little bit of editing today, but other than that, I laid in bed all day and took naps with my dog, and it was super relaxing. But you're allowed to have a downtime. You don't need to be hustling, quote unquote, all the time. Whatever the fuck that means.
It's so weird. I just thought of this. It's you need to be lazy so that way you feel motivated to.
Well, no, you have to give yourself time to take a break. It's the same thing with people that want to say they work, 28 hours a day, and it's okay, that's fine, because I did it when I was in college. I got up and worked at a gym from 5 a.m. until 9, I'd go to class, and then I'd get out, and then I'd go to work. And then it went from that to I was working full-time, 60 hours at UPS, plus my job in the morning. It's like I know what that is, but I don't ever want to do that because you are miserable when you do it that way. And I don't know.
It is really strange to think about like how much you work, and because
that
it's like,
that idea is crazy to me because you don't have any like the money doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean a single thing. And then I'm happier now than
money is nice though.
I can't I'll
just,
never knock people that have money. I know people that have more money than God himself, and it's insane, the lifestyles. And I'll never knock that, and I'll never talk shit about anybody else because I don't know their story. And if somebody had a little bit of help, then everyone has a little bit of help. Everyone gets a little bit of help in their own way, on whatever scale it may be.
Whether it's with money or just to get money.
But coming from somebody that was making good money and then not having any money now, I can say that I genuinely am a happier person, and that's kind of where I was going with my shower thoughts.
Oh yeah, sorry.
was just like I am just in such a good place now. And my friend, like I have like 4 really really close friends, and they can see like the huge difference compared to I had some with me when things went really bad for me last year at this time. And the difference.
That was when you were coming to Ray Supply and you were that quiet, like trying to be a cool guy.
Yeah.
Because you were like,
you
just need to be focused.
But yeah, compared to then and now, and it's just, you go through all these things, and yeah, I mean, as you get older, you always realize, you're like, damn, I wish I started this sooner. I wish I did this. Wish I figured it out. But then you're like, okay, well, I was supposed to find it out now at this time, and now I'm going to take that information, I'm going to move forward, and you either do the right or wrong thing at that point.
Yeah, it's been really tough because it's so weird for me because I didn't have like anything to go off of when I first started this. Like I didn't know anyone.
No, I don't even.
I
think I asked you if you were good at sound.
No, I don't even know what I'm doing.
So if this sounds really bad, it's his fault.
But if it sounds really good, I just learned this like this morning.
Yeah. No, in these cheap Walmart headphones.
Yeah, I got these at Target. The Skull Candy.
These actually hurt my ears really bad, and they're over the ears.
No, actually, I really like Skull Candy. These ones themselves, they updated it and put this microphone on it, and I feel like they don't sound as good.
Hopefully in newer episodes of this, we'll have better headphones. Real headphones. These things are scary.
Yeah, my dog Cleo.
But they sound good.
Jumping at the door, she chewed up my $150 Shure headphones.
Yeah,
which this is.
My dog would do the same thing. So.
Yeah, but like I said, I did. These microphones are borrowed. The cables themselves are borrowed. A couple other things.
If you'd like to borrow a setup like this, just go to Ray Supply.
Just go to Ray Supply. We do rent them out. Yeah. I did buy everything else though, but I actually used funding from a job to pay for it. So essentially, it was kind of like I didn't make any money, but I broke even. So I was like, nice.
It's fine.
And that was the job that you. It was a live.
Oh yeah, it was the live stream.
I didn't know what to ask. That's another thing. That's a big topic. I don't want to talk about it now, but I think I want to have like specific discussions, and I think pricing of like how to price yourself is a really important thing.
That's a funny conversation to have with people. I have people that
I know people hate you because of how much you charge sometimes. But I also hate myself because of how little I
we can have this conversation. I think you should have this conversation. This should be a conversation as a creative that you should have with every person because everyone has a different take on what they're worth as a person. And I used to, and as you get started, and people will talk shit about what I'm about to say. But when you first get started, you need to offer either free or nothing. And while you're doing photography or video work, somebody is making X amount of dollars doing it, but you don't know shit about it. So you have to learn and figure out what you're good and not good at, and either polish those things that you're not good at, or hire someone else that is good at that. And whatever. And as you get more experience, you can charge more. But you can't be like, okay, I take pictures, I have a camera. I'm gonna charge $500 an hour to shoot you and your kids. because that's not realistic. You have to also look at where you live. And
assassins don't charge that much to shoot your kids.
But yeah, I mean, I charge what I charge, and there's people that do the same thing in this area that will be on this podcast, and that charge I think less. I don't know. I don't talk to other people that I work with about how much they charge, because I know what they're worth, and how I don't want to, cloud their view of what they think they're worth, because some people don't know how to handle opinions of others, and they really take it to heart, and I don't want to be that person that pushed someone over the edge for that reason. So, I mean, I do charge what I charge, and that's just from working with people within my industry, and then seeing response. That's your biggest thing, is seeing your response from your audience. If they're responding well to your content, okay, then you can charge what you want, because they want to see your work. And that's kind of where I've gotten. And some people don't like my video work, as they should not, I guess, because everyone has their own opinion.
There's someone that just has a different take. And
it's just the way my filming style is very documentary style, and it's just very run and gun. There's no big. I would like to do more big productions. That's what I'd like to get into now that, as we move up here a little bit. And I don't know. I just think that everyone has their own take on what they're worth, and I'm not going to say my number, because you can view that January 1st, 2019 on my website. But
oh, nice.
For my wedding stuff. But I'm actually, like I talked about with you, I'm pulling back on that.
I don't ever put pricing, because I don't ever.
Well, every project's different too. But you have to think, if you're looking at it at an hourly rate, how much do you want to make? How much is your time worth? That's really where you gauge it from. How much do you want to make, or what's your lifestyle too? If you're driving $50,000 car, you're going to charge more than the person that doesn't have a car payment.
Yeah, are you going to charge an amount just to fund your lifestyle, or are you going to charge an amount because of how much your quality is?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, is like so you got people that charge for 4K, and this is across the board. This isn't locally, this is across the board. There's people that charge for 4K, quote unquote.
People charge a different amount between
4K and 1080p.
Sometimes it just
so they're charging for 4K on a camera that says quote unquote 4K. I had $500 cameras that shot quote unquote 4K.
But
so
also 30 frames a second.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter the slow-mo frames. You're talking about color and depth, bit rates. That's where it matters, because we'll get back into the Red for a second. The Red shoots 16-bit raw video, and that doesn't mean anything to most people watching this, but that is insane. That's more than any DSLR. The runner-up to that is the D810 at 14.8 for dynamic range.
For just an image?
For just so dynamic range on. So the Red has a beat by 2 stops in dynamic range, color bit by because most cameras shoot 14, the Red shoots 16. And like that's what you pay. That's where you pay for.
And that's a video. That means there's minimum of 24 frames a second, where the 810 is just a single photo.
Yeah. So that's a true image. That's a real motion picture. That's what that is. That's not a digitized thing that my A6300 shot, and I'm going to charge more for it, because I'm not, because that would morally be wrong. But because I know what this camera does and what it can do, then yeah, I'm going to obviously charge more. And the other thing is, I want to educate the people that don't know on what this is and why the price is what it is. And
sometimes pricing just comes down to what so-and-so charges and how much they go into their work, and how much you should be able to charge. It's like, if so-and-so just started and they're doing like family portraits, and they're just taking pictures and they're just sending it to people, no editing, and they're charging $150. It's just like, well, I can't charge $150 because I'm worth more than that.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you get what you pay for. Always. You just do, and it shows up. You'll see it. You will. Well, and it might look good on the surface, but when you really start to dive into things, and I've found this out, unfortunately, where I've been in situations where I thought I knew, and I, had this ego, and that my ego went away.
Even still.
Not
your ego, but you might
even still. So within the past year, I realized, I know people can attest to this, I had an ego, and then I kind of got punched in the mouth by life and realize, okay, like you need to sit down and you need to learn because there's a lot of things that you think you know you don't. And so I did, and I studied, and I consumed myself in content and articles and podcasts, and I just did all the learning I could. And if you look at where my footage is from just last year to my last film that I put out for 2018 is insane because the ego went away and I actually learned and I was patient with it. Whether in a year is not even patient. I have so much learned. The whole red ecosystem thing is going to be the most frustrating thing ever.
Oh, that's tough. Like even just for what I do, like for example, at Ray Supply, we do photo edits and I do photography classes.
Yeah.
But it's like the people that I teach are brand new, and we have an hourly rate and like a flat. You pay at least this, and then it's this much per half hour, and sometimes it's like our profit margin is great. Like
yeah.
But sometimes it's like I put a lot of effort into this thing, and it's like I'm just barely like we charge minimum half hour and then half hour increments, and then whatever, it's like $65 an hour, and it's like cool. Sometimes it'll take me 15 minutes to work on something, and that's a half hour. But sometimes it'll take me like 40 minutes to do something, and it's like, then I have to charge that hour. And they're like, oh, well, you said that this could be done in like a half hour. And I'm just like, well, that's just.
Well, it's one of those. And I'm guilty of this, and I have some wedding clients, unfortunately, that can attest to that. And I've definitely said my sorries, which I try not to do because I don't like to disappoint people. But with some of my timelines, because I try to edit as efficiently as I can, but when you run out of that creative spark, you can't. I'm not going to force feed things into a film that I know that I'm not going to be happy when I put it out, because somebody could see it and be like, wow, that's really, really bad. Or like, and it should have been somebody that was like, that was super good. And it could have been better. So I try to view it as if a film I have some films that I've done be able to do in 8 hours. Boom, done. Like start to finish, 8 hours, done. There's films that I've taken weeks and weeks, months.
Every single thing I work on takes weeks.
Just because like I become so obsessed with certain aspects of it that I want it to be perfect, and then you forget, okay, it's never going to be perfect. It's like that. Art is never finished. No matter how much because there could always be more. Like you could have filmed something more, or you could have taken a picture more, or at a different time or angle or whatever it may be. So you just have to, as far as viewing yourself and what you're worth, you have to just take a look back, put your ego aside, and realize like, okay, this is what I can realistically charge. This is where I want to go, and you kind of steer into a certain clientele, and that's where I think that's where the price is important, because obviously when you price yourself low, that's just how it goes. You get a certain clientele, and the more you charge, you get a certain clientele. And if you are okay with a certain clientele, then charge what you charge and never change. But if you want more out of something, then you charge more, and you see a difference. And I've seen it, and I've learned that the hard way in the wedding world. But it was such a blessing because now I know what to charge, and I know what I'll get when I charge a certain amount. But there's also an expectation too, and there's a difference too with the way you work, because you remember, because they treat you a little differently and things of that nature. So yeah. But I'm curious to see what other people, as we ask this question to who comes on here, what their opinion is on that.
Yeah,
because that's an argument that we could talk about that till the sun comes up. So
it is true. It's funny. I feel like it's going to be the same thing. Where we could either have like a 5-hour podcast on one topic, but we're also going to have 5 podcasts that talk about the same topic with different people, and it's all going to be a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Even if we were to come back to this in 3 weeks,
yeah,
like it's going to be a completely different podcast, just because we'll either remember something different or we're going to experience something different.
Well, every conversation is different. Whenever the next conversation that you and I have on here will be different about different things, and
it'll also be the pressure of like
there's a pressure right now. This is my first time. Like I'm never on camera. If you look at anything, photo, film, this guy's face, never on it.
That's true.
Always.
I think the only time I've ever heard you is just you talking behind camera.
Even my social network accounts, I don't have my face on them. If you look at my Instagram, You'd have no idea what I actually look like.
Ooh, I love my Instagram stories. I love to show my face.
So that's the only time actually is people hate my Instagram stories, by the way. When I go my gym, my fitness journey, people get heated when I post stuff. And I do it on purpose because I love the reaction that I get from the people that do follow me. Cause
you do it on purpose because you know that you're a good looking dude and you take your shirt off.
That's up for debate, I'm sure. But no, and that's the other thing too is I am super big into fitness. Like Cleo, what's up? I'm super big into fitness and I have been for a few years, but I kind of went to a terrible place when everything happened in 2018 and early. And then I realized, and I have terrible friends, my core 4 friends, they didn't tell me that I looked bad and I was pretty upset with them. But
man, I look bad now. I just started going to the gym the other week.
So, but yeah, I do it to log my personal, goals that I have and I like to see the response that people get.
Now, do you save them or do you just go back into them?
No, I save them. I save all of them. And
it's really nice that when you do work on stuff, there's definitely a progression. For me, whenever I start working out, it's just to kind of maintain. Like this is a very strange podcast, but it reminds me of this.
I'm so. We're talking about everything under the sun.
But that's the point. It's mostly a conversation.
Well, you're gonna look back through this, and
someone's getting knowledge out of it.
Are you cutting this up?
No. Well, I will.
Are you gonna cut?
My main goal is to record the whole thing, and then I want to make Corridor Digital. There's a YouTube channel out there. Yep. They just started a podcast, so I want to have conversations, one-on-ones with everyone because this is gonna be an interview with each person because I want everyone to have their background, and then eventually I want those group podcasts to be a thing. I want to be able to have like an entire show.
Oh, I would like a big group would be killer, but I like the one-on-one thing.
I do like the one-on-one, and then what I want to do is I'm gonna make a video for it. I'm gonna post it on my website. It's gonna go to iTunes, and then what I want to do on YouTube is actually what I just saw literally last week is Corridor Digital. On their Corridor podcast is they have an 2 hour long podcast, and they do Joe Rogan does the same thing where they cut out 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Rogan does that same thing, and I kind of like that a little bit more because there's like just banter that we're gonna have in between good conversation. I don't even know if we're having good conversation, but I think we are. But there's banter just to get on to the next topic and.
Because you don't want to have like a stagnant.
Well, no, I mean, there's just so much to talk about. You kind of like you're processing it as you're saying it, and we're having these conversations. You're thinking about, okay, well, where's this going to lead to? Like, what's next? There's a ton to talk about.
That's exactly what. Every time like I look down like this, I'm just thinking of the next thing.
Yeah.
Before I get too off. So like in a section from this could have been like Adam talks about finances and cost of what he's worth. Kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, and just like, and then you could do a versus. You could do all sorts. You could do whatever you want. It's your channel. You could do whatever you want.
I could do a collaboration after 10 podcasts. It'll be a 30-minute thing of each person.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be really good too, is because there's always a good debate, and I love to debate. And you will see that as we get on the bigger group stuff. Not to say that I'm right, because I'm wrong a lot of the time.
That's the best part about learning.
So, and I've that was a tough thing for me to, because I hate being wrong. But it's so good.
Used to being wrong.
It's so.
I'm wrong all the time.
It's so good to admit that you're wrong, because it's just like, damn.
Dude, I admit I'm a terrible person all the time. I'm not really a terrible person, but I'll be the first person to just say that I like am annoying or I'm like really shitty.
Oh my God, sometimes I talk too much, or I talk about things that no one gives a shit about.
The other day at work, we're always, if you follow me on Snapchat or Instagram, you'll see that we're always like flinging rubber bands at each other at work. And our boss was like, he kind of came upstairs. He was just like, he was laughing about it a little bit. He was like, guys, I got to be a dick. I'm going to put my foot down. No more rubber bands. It's like.
Wait, how did he find out?
Oh, there's just rubber bands all over the floor.
Oh, you guys don't pick them up?
We do, but sometimes they're just like, there's hundreds
if you're gonna screw around at work, you got to pick up the evidence.
Come on. But it was really funny because it was me, Tom, and Patrick, and Tom goes like, oh, look at there, there's like a couple over here, so they're flinging them at me, so I was the target. But he was joking, And then Greg, our boss, he goes like, well, actually, I think you were probably the one, so I'm blaming you for all of this. And then like Tom was just like, you're gonna tell him that it wasn't me, right? I was just like, he was joking around. And then
that
was
was his humor. Didn't pick up on that.
But it's really funny because they used to call me Little Greg because I pretty much assist my boss at work.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like I joke around with him, but I'm like I kind of like a kiss ass when it comes to like everyone being in a group together. And then Tom was just like, oh, you're gonna let me take the heat for that? I was just like, Tom, why would I sacrifice the quality of my life when you can just take the blame and I just go scotch-free?
Yeah, that's how blame works.
It's like
I could blame somebody else for my mistakes.
It's like letting other people take the wrath and you getting the better half of it.
Yeah, but see, the only thing is that that's a two-way street though, because karma.
No, yeah. I mean, I was joking about
I know that, but there's some people that are serious about that, and gotta be careful.
No, the joke I made was just like, how do you think we got the president we have?
Oh my God, that's one thing that we will not talk about on this podcast ever is politics, because I can't stand them, and
I don't know anything.
There's no reason to bring that stuff in because it doesn't affect me and it doesn't affect you, and it doesn't affect anyone that will be on this podcast.
No, like I always say that, like I don't ever really know much about politics just because it's like it doesn't affect. If we were to go, that's a dark road to go down, is that whole conversation, and that's a time for another thing with a group because that's a good debate. That'd be a funny cast.
Yeah, I just think there's so much more to life in your life that is so much more relevant than worrying about what is. You should be conscious of what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that at all, but
mostly we're gonna get into it.
Well, I'm just gonna say this statement and move on from this because we're gonna save this for another day.
I won't add anything.
But you just do your research, do your homework, and don't be an idiot, because the world is filled with them, and gullible people, and social networks have made it so much easier. So just do your homework, please, and before you voice your opinion, because you're allowed to have an opinion, but an educated opinion goes much further than an uneducated one. So,
and that's going to be the 45-second segment of Adam's basis on politics.
Yeah, hopefully everyone agrees with me, because I will argue them until the sun comes up as well. I do
think it would be really cool to do a.
Oh, I mean, I don't. So as far as what are we going to give the audience on this channel? Like, what can they expect? Like, who's going to watch this?
All right, so my base is I'm going to record. A minimum of 10 podcasts before I post anything. Mostly because when you post something to, I have to like hiccup, like really bad. Sorry. When you post stuff to iTunes, you kind of have to have like you have to submit them. So what I want to do is I want to submit around 5 of them. And I want everyone that's involved to immediately go watch, rate, and like up.
Yeah.
Like we have to get like you have to tell all your friends. Everyone that's in it has to tell all their
no,
friends.
No, yeah, that's the hack.
That's how you get onto like the trending side. Like I've been doing a bunch of research for this.
So to blow up everyone's spot, because the Northeast is so far behind on social networks. And I actually said this to Tyler and Luke the other day. Is you have to have a group. And you comment, tag people, and you all do it at the same time. And we have 20 people, and I'm sure if we could get all 20 people to do that, when we post this first one, you'll see it somewhere trending.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the algorithm works, and you have to play by their rules a little bit. So and people kind of find that they care. That takes a lot of humility to be like, hey, I need you to go like my video, and then tag the 3 people that I know.
That's exactly.
But that's it. That's just how it works. And I'm sorry.
That's why I did the group.
Yeah. So it's a good group, and everyone, the vibe in the group, and everyone's.
I'm trying not to make it be so much of a meme, because some people started posting like funny gifs and all that other stuff. I wanted to keep it more serious in the Instagram.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, a little bit of fun, but make sure like because you're steering the ship.
Which is weird. This is the first.
I know. I'm so excited, and I'm a little nervous because I've seen Zach.
No, that's just it. I thrive. I do so much better with people. Like I've never been the type of person that goes.
Well, you've always been a conversationalist. You love to talk, which is like me. I love to talk. whether I should or not is the question. But
I love to talk in like real life. Like I'm really bad at like group texts, which is weird for me making one because sometimes it's just like I'm so sick and tired.
That's all my phone is just group chats. We all I have small groups of people in each of them, and same thing with all my social networks. But this is great. This is so much fun. I'm so glad that you did this because more people should do this.
It's
like
great.
more. It's funny. Like people are like, oh, no one gives a shit about your opinion. Hold on, that's not true because, X amount of people follow you on social networks, so that many people care. So maybe out of 200 people, I don't know how many people follow you, but let's say 200, and 5 of them listen. 5 people that you don't interact with care about what you think. Like that's cool, and I think it's such a crazy time, and you have to just run with it.
And it's so cool because it's like I always have all these ideas, and it's like I've never been the time. I never like comment on stuff. I never like.
See, I never did. I never did that for the longest time, and realized that was wrong because, and that's where it comes down to the self marketing, and networking and all that. You have to do that. Whether even if you're not that person, like you have to force yourself to be that person because if you don't reach out. It's very rare that somebody will be like, oh, I'm going to reach out to Zach. If you reach out to somebody though, like they'll be like, oh, this is cool. Like this guy's pretty cool dude. So, and then there's a friendship. It's how friendships work in the digital age.
I also think it's really great to make the group, because everyone, like I've always had group messages and it's usually comprised of the same, like 4 to 5 guys. And then I also add more. And then some of those people will just kind of fall off the group, the platform, and then we'll just kind of create a new group. But like a year ago, I had a group on Snapchat that came over from GroupMe, which started as a text message, which is just a bunch of people that I know in person and a couple people that I met online, and it was our way of holding everyone accountable. So it's like it would have been one thing for me to message each person individually and just say, hey, I'm starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in point? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then it's like it would either be me messaging them or them messaging me. Where now it's like I make this group and it's like, yes, you can mute a conversation, but it's one person reply and then 3 people reply. So if one person gets a notification, all 20 people get a notification. Which is something really big, and I really want to make this. It's really important to build a base. For anyone. So if the first couple podcasts, if for like
it's gonna take
weeks, if the only people that listen are the people that are involved, that's what it's gonna take.
It's still good though because it'll still be. So the thing is, you just have to continue to keep moving forward, even when you don't think it's gonna work, because that at that last, the last hour, the final hour, like that's where it happens. Whether it's in a month or 3 years, and that sounds crazy to say, but it goes back to thinking about how far you've come and like the things that you now know compared to if you tried to do this, 3 years ago, you would fail because you didn't have certain knowledge, even patience, the knowledge of patience, if that makes any sense to people, just understanding that like things just don't happen. They just don't happen. You can see them through, but you have to be willing to like take it.
One of the biggest things that was kind of like an inspiration. I don't really watch this stuff anymore. I'm like a really big, like I kind of go through phases of watching stuff on YouTube. The only people that I've really consistently watched are usually comedy channels, like PewDiePie, and then there's Funhouse. Funhouse is really cool because
Funhouse. I like Funhouse.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. No, Funhouse. PewDiePie.
I like PewDiePie just because it's. I don't know.
It's just like some of that it's just mindless stuff. It's like like anything that's mindless.
It can be, sometimes. Yeah. I'm not gonna get into that. But anyway, so what I was kind of touching point on is people like Peter McKinnon and Casey Neistat.
Pete's great. I remember Casey's good. I don't know. I don't follow Casey actually
at all anymore because it's mostly the last stuff I've seen. I know that they don't do this. I don't want to be like just say generalized stuff that's all they do. But the most stuff that I've seen has just been a couple vlogs, and I just haven't been interested. But
they're not as far as Peter's stuff goes. His content has definitely changed. If you look at where his latest video was a year ago, and I remember I started following him almost 2 years ago now. He had very few subs.
I remember him.
I think he had like 10,000 subs when I started following him, which is insane because he's got like over 2 million now. But he used to do, and I followed him, and I actually got a lot of knowledge from him. And I know you did too, with his camera hacks and his tutorials on Premiere.
That
and
was
After
like
Effects.
the main thing.
And he doesn't really do, it's very rare. He did one recently with the text, with the pinning the text in After Effects.
Oh yeah, so it tracks.
Yeah, the tracking.
I didn't see it, but I know.
I watched it, and that was like his old stuff. But obviously, as his channel, your channel always evolves. I still follow him just because he's
every now and then
he posts some cool stuff. Casey stuff, I was into it for a little bit, but it doesn't really do.
Doesn't tickle your
It just doesn't do anything for me right now, and that comes and goes. It's kind of like you watch certain shows because they do something for you. They fill a void, and there's a void that he doesn't need. I just don't need from him.
It's like I will sit down and watch any show,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like there are definitely shows that I just won't put on myself.
No, I don't watch anything on TV. I don't watch Netflix.
I mean,
really,
it's like the similar thing. Like I will watch a Casey Neistat video, but I won't ever really like just go.
You don't watch
my way to.
Well, yeah, you like if you see it, but you don't. There's certain things that you specifically look for.
Actually, it's not even like that anymore. But what I was trying
it's
to
not.
say.
No, I'm the same way.
Before you rudely interrupted me.
I do that a lot. I'm sorry. You'll have to call me out on that.
That's okay. Well, with Peter McKinnon, I was watching a video on this, so it's not even my original idea.
No.
But when he first started off, he was making really short tutorials that were effective.
2-Minute Tuesdays.
No, not even those. But like the first video I ever saw was how to up your like Instagram photos using your phone and like natural light. That was like one of the first videos I saw, and that was that was right when he peaked. Like I didn't search for that.
I think when he hit 100,000,
recommended it.
I think when he hit 100,000 subs,
is when it
just went crazy.
And that's essentially
because he sorry.
What I'm looking to do with this.
Oh, I hope so.
Is you can't just start off a vlog, which I've tried. You get 40 views, and they're all the
no. You have to add something to it.
And every single one of those views is either your friends who are gonna watch your stuff, or it's you putting your name into someone else's phone and saying, "Hey, watch my video."
Yeah.
Which I actually like said that in one of my videos was most of the views is gonna be from me telling people to watch this video.
Yeah. Well, there's no shame in it. I mean, you do what you do. You're marketing. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are marketing something of yours. So you're every piece of the company, and you have to do some of the dirty work.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. But I'm excited to see where this goes and the conversations that you do have. And I would like to, do you know the audience yet? That you wanna try to kind of gear it towards, or honestly, do you not know yet?
It's gonna be mostly everyone that's in the group isn't necessarily a videographer, photographer. It's someone who is just doing what they want, whether it's be their full-time job or their part-time job, or like it's just a hobby.
Well, you want to bring on people that are creative in the sense of whatever they do, that are somewhat local. And you want to bring them on?
Well, actually, some of them aren't even. Like, there's a couple guys. There's Ollie. He's from the UK.
Wait a minute.
Ollie Smithers. And then there's...
I think I might know him.
Antone? I don't know where he's from, but it's definitely not a language that I know.
That'll be interesting.
And he makes really good videos. He works for like this. I don't want to say exactly what it works for because I know some of his stuff is just in a different language, but he speaks English and he knows English and all that
That's
stuff.
Good.
But he's done a lot of videos for a couple nightclubs and DJ stuff, and it's like really well made, and it's really crazy because it's all low light stuff and it looks really clean. Like it has, I don't know what he's using for gear, but it's like it's very similar each video, but it's a very well made video. Like he found his niche, and like
see that's what you want to do. Is you want to find your niche and whatever that may be, and you kind of have to follow where it goes. You kind of, you can force yourself into one, but you kind of want to see where your audience takes you.
And it's really crazy because those two people and Harach, I forget where he's from, but he lives in California now. Those three. And then there's a couple more people that I just didn't add to the group because I've just noticed they haven't been as kind of going with it, and I didn't know where they would fit in. at this point. They definitely will. I'm not gonna say no one is gonna fit in. I just haven't seen them be as active. But they started from this Instagram group that was started by a girl who won a competition from Casey Neistat. She won a camera for like entering some video.
Okay.
And
wow.
And like all of a sudden her page was like blown up. She went from like a couple hundred to a couple thousand subscribers.
Yeah.
But she still is more regular. Like people kind of went to her page and then just kind of like just because of Casey, and then they kind of forgot about her.
Well, that's the thing. Like the shout. So that is where the self branding and the marketing comes into play. When you get yourself in that situation and you kind of have that firepower for, it's your 15 minutes of fame, as they say, and you have to take that and do right with it, because it can change your life, or you can be forgotten very quickly, especially in today's world.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say she didn't do the right thing, but I think she went towards the vlogging route. Now she does more just like street photography. I don't remember where she lives, but a lot of them were.
You're going to see that more.
Forward.
Watch. I'm going to say it right now too, is you're going to see, and I've noticed it in the past, even the past 2 weeks, is you're going to see people with social networks that are geared at people that take photos. Like she'll probably, maybe, if she was smart, she would have someone film her and like do some BTS stuff. And I think you're going to see that a lot more because people want to know.
Yeah.
That's like it was like almost a taboo thing. And all of a sudden it's blown up, like the behind the scenes thing. I've noticed it I follow Flashmates on Instagram because I'm super into studio photography. And now they do a lot of BTS stuff. And all you see is behind the scenes stuff.
Behind the scenes stuff is the best. I remember
because people want to know. They want to know how to do it, but they don't want to pay because there's these classes that you can take, which I did. And, for certain reasons, because whether I like the artist or whatever my reason was. But the behind the scenes stuff is quick learning. And people think that I think that there's also a misconception that they're going to learn it all in this one post. And it is crazy. If you watch
so much just from a photo behind the scenes, like if you ever see how like those gear photos, like those were really popular for a while. They're not as so much anymore. But you can learn a lot just from like seeing what someone has, and then look at what you have, and it's like, oh well, I have all this stuff, but it's like I don't use that. If this is all they use, it's like I could essentially do all this and not use a lot. Well,
you just need to know how it all works. You need to know when to use it and why you're using it, and to get. People see a photo and they try to mimic it to a T, and they don't understand why they're doing it. They don't understand why there's a light, at a 45, and why there's a hair light that's a certain color and it's overhead on a box strip. They don't like certain things like that. And if that sounds extremely foreign, you better do some homework.
Yeah.
But that's but it's a new age of learning. It's very quick. It's very to the point. I don't know if I'm on board with it because it's kind of creating a false sense of knowledge. Because there's like that and now it's like, okay, I have a camera. I'm going to take this. I'm going to put a visco filter on it, crank the contrast up. Boom, sold. There's actually a guy I follow that does it to that extent. And he posts it on Instagram. Wow. And he does a whole edit video on YouTube. And the guy went from, I don't even know. I think he's gained 50,000 followers in the past 2 weeks.
All right, you keep cutting me off, but what I was going to say was I just stared at the camera. I was like, sorry, you did it again.
Sorry.
But it was funny because when I actually think back to when I was a kid, like me and my parents used to have family night, me, my parents and my sisters. And one of the best things was after the movie, watching the behind the scenes with my dad. Mm-hmm. My dad he's not into that stuff at all. He's a heavy equipment mechanic.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so fascinated with behind the scenes and just cartoons and movies and everything like that. I always just used to think I want to do this. I want this. Why doesn't, it's weird to me. I'm thinking, why doesn't every single person in the world want to make movies for a living?
See, and it's so fun. That's why I love this topic. That topic right there. I have this conversation with people all the time because they ask the question, where did you get started and all that, and I just. I love anyone that knows me knows I love to go to the movies. It's one of my favorite things to do.
I don't go to the movies enough. Me and Brittany.
I don't either, and I just don't have the time, and I wish I could because there's so many good movies out, and just cinematography. I have such a love for it, and especially good storytelling too. I'm a I'm a sucker for a good love story,
Dude. I remember,
or
I watched
a heartbreak, whatever, or a drama. I think one of my all-time favorite movies is Remember Me.
the one
With Robert Pattinson in it, and the cinematography. It was actually an indie film.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And it did really well. And it was just such a killer movie. It was so good.
I was thinking of shit. What was that movie? The girl that was in Kick-Ass. She was in a movie where she was like got knocked out. It's the same thing where she's like she's in like a coma and she can like see the guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't think. I know. I can't think of the name.
I don't know
now, but
it's not the same movie.
But yeah, there's that's like my drive too. I remember I told myself I wanted to be. I used the word director. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I wanted to be.
I want to be a director. Mostly because I have a really hard time with like follow through. That's why I require so many people.
Well, you just need a team. That's the other thing too. You need to know your needs, and if you can be a one-man show, then God bless you, because it's tough. It is so tough.
That's what I thought you were doing for a while.
I was for the most. Well,
and then I saw like how much of a wreck you were for a little while.
Oh, I did. I mean, I still do even now. I had Luke help me a couple times this year, but for the most part, it was just me. And it gets.
I still think that's really cool that you know Luke, and it's like I met Luke at school, and it's like me, him, and my buddy Tyler.
Yeah.
Like make films, and then me and my friend Tyler make films, and now me and you make films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Luke and I still work together on things that we do with that group, with filming and stuff like that.
He does a lot. He does a lot of edits.
You know what Luke's good at is quick things, quick edits, and he can edit though. Oh my God, he can edit like I've never seen. He can cut things up and make a quick story. He's insane.
I haven't seen him really get too in depth. I'm not trying to put Luke down at all, but I haven't seen him to the extent besides his edits that he puts up, which is essentially just cool montage footage.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of mastered it. Like
he's great. He's great at it. He just throws a song on there quick, and I mean it's not. There are some things that definitely aren't pretty, and he knows that. He's good at. That he just throws it out there and it's just content. And that's like the major thing that is the one thing I'm really bad at is content, is not putting out enough.
That's 100% my issue. My issue is that I will make stuff all the time. This is when
you're a perfectionist, and that's why you don't put out enough content.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just put out a video and it took me 3 weeks to make, and all I had to do was cut up the footage and then add a couple transitions and then overlay like 2 or 3
and clips. You overthought it.
And I overthought it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, this has to work. And if you actually watch the first like 3 seconds of it, I almost didn't upload it because I have these templates for motion graphics that I just want to use. I can just make motion graphics, but there's just more time, and then I have to export that as a see-through. And so I use these Premiere templates, and the font wasn't like loading. So if you look, the very first thing, it has like Zach Pouillet, bad at intros.
Yeah.
Photographer, cinematographer, bad at intros, and it's like that part is in Times New Roman because the font wasn't, and it was sticking out of the box. Like there's like a square where it's supposed to fit in, and it was like out of it. And I'm like,
I've done that,
and no one's gonna notice.
No, absolutely, you're not. No, not a single person, unless they're somebody that's heavily into the film world or anything like that. And they're like, and they notice it.
That's like us noticing.
You'll get that one person in the comments that is like, oh, the text is wrong. And then that's fine because at least somebody noticed, and that kind of is a good thing.
And it sucks too because it's like something that usually I would just fix, but it's like the program literally wasn't right. It was fucking Baybase new or regular. It was Baybase regular. The font. I downloaded it. It was there. It was on my computer, but every time I opened up Premiere, it was like this font cannot be found. And it just like wasn't doing it, and I can't change the font because it was a template. So. Yeah.
See, I just made the switch to Final Cut, and you pointed that out the other day.
I pointed out it like a couple months ago. Oh no, I pointed out that you made the cut. I saw it on your timeline.
Yeah, I hadn't used it because I've just been so.
But I told you about it in the last wedding.
You had told me about it, and that it just
works with Mac.
It just worked with Mac better. So but I've been so gung ho about Adobe stuff. Like I love Adobe stuff. And
you can still use everything else. You can still use.
So I switched it over, and I just love it. And
you gonna use DaVinci?
No. I've tried it. DaVinci's tough to learn, and that I want to learn it. But I just do quick grades on all my stuff now, and especially with the red too. The Dragon Color 2 color science is insane. So and I just love the color. I love the look and color of reds. So I'll do very minimal. Very minimal coloring for the most part, unless it's like some crazy project. But it's just such a clean image that
It's crazy that Michael Bay uses those, and it's like his movies are the plainest looking things.
mm-hmm.
But then you think about all the CGI.
Well, no,
that
his
looks-
stuff's pretty insane. He doesn't use a ton of CGI for the I mean,
Well, no, I mean for when he does need it. I mean all the
his behind the scenes stuff is insane.
Yes.
If you're into filming whatsoever and you don't see Michael Bay's behind the scenes stuff with his custom red making the Transformer movies, insane. Just
Bayhem. Isn't it like neon yellow or
yeah,
green?
it's green and it's got dual handles on. Oh my god, that thing is crazy.
It's got like a crystal logo on it or something.
Yeah, and the Transformers logo on it. It's just the thing is insane. And I love his run and gun. He running guns with it, and he's crazy at what he does. But that's why he makes some of the best films out there.
It's really funny because he looks like the kind of guy that like just wears like
film
North Face jackets and like hikes.
He actually looks just like one of my friend's dads.
He looks like the kind of guy that
skis
like
and
yeah, like
that's it. Like
goes to a cabin and like
yeah, very
yeah.
But no,
Shops at Eastern Mountain Sports in Patagonia. Yeah,
such a bad stereotype. Sorry for that person. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's usually people like that have their shit together.
Well, but no, he creates some cool stuff, and but his behind the scenes stuff is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he doesn't post a lot about it. He actually hasn't posted in like a year or two.
Yeah, I remember seeing some stuff, but it wasn't like him that
like.
posted
Well,
it.
actually, one of the videos just made its rounds. That's probably how you saw that again. It was recent.
Was it him with this thing?
Yeah,
And he was running and you see the explosions?
Yeah, that was a recent video that just surfaced again. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's an old video. It's from like 2016.
Yeah, I saw that. Old. It's
Old.
2 years old.
Yeah, I know, but it's old by today's standards. But yeah. So what are we at?
It's
What time did we start this?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't want to get up and check. It's 8:48
48,
and you got here at 7, and I think we started at like 7:15.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I think we covered everything, like the basis of why we're doing this, which we talked about, creating the creative culture in this area, at least locally.
It's so weird,
because it's not good.
That I think you were the first person I really came to with my Pinterest board.
You did. You unloaded
I
actually
literally
many
have-
of them on my. So I have
Yes.
quite a few. But you do have good inspos. You do. I actually look at them still to this day.
I have a Pinterest board, and it's called Creative Spaces. And it kind of started off from just really modernized public libraries.
Yeah.
And then it also kind of branched into the idea of having a large space with multiple studios in it that you can rent out. And my end goal,
And that actually got the wheels turning.
essentially with all of this, is my end goal. It's like not to be necessarily a director of movies, it's to just be a director of creation. If I never make a single thing and can put my name on something, but I can help other people get there, that's satisfying
Just
enough
because
for me.
you can see things
Yeah.
that other people can't. Like exactly why there's so many roles in cinema.
It's like when it comes to editing, it's like I can tell you exactly what needs to happen with the edit, but as soon as I sit down to edit, I get distracted and I never complete it just because it's like I don't have ADHD. It definitely looks like I have ADHD, and people that talk to me.
Well,
know
if you
me.
look at your creative space, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
But it's like me.
But the creative space, it's like I want to have like this place, almost be like a public library, but more than that, like specific for creation. I know that they have creative spaces all the time,
Yeah.
but it's like think of a place where a large factory, warehouse-sized
That's what you need.
thing, and then there's like a large foyer. I want to have coffee shops. I want to get sponsored. I want to get like Starbucks in there.
No, you
No,
don't want
not
to start.
really.
But that idea,
Of-
that's the premise of creating this culture in this area, and I want to see it through as much as you do, and I think that this avenue for you is major for you
Like
because
imagine taking that the what's that building called? The new one that they just put up by the hospital.
14 Hudson.
14 Hudson.
Mhm.
There's a large apartment complex. Like taking a building like that and separating it. Like I was thinking, I joked around about the Starbucks, but having like a cafe and all these other places where there can be work, like an income where people can go there just to get lunch and something like that, and then have like a membership fee, like a gym, where like you can come in and use any of the computers, any of the studios, and stuff like that, and just use them. But then if you wanted to make work, there are like actual studios where you can rent, and that's where it would drive revenue. It'd be a very subscription.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's funny that we talk about this. I'm actually having a meeting, the beginning of the year about this. What you just said, because.
Where do you get to have all these meetings?
What?
Why do you get to have all these meetings?
Oh, absolutely. We will have this. We will have the conversation off microphone.
Because you met with Mike. Or you talking?
No,
to Mike?
it has nothing to do with Mike.
No. But you were talking to Mike about having a meeting and all that stuff. I met with Mike and he was just like, "Hey, can you do this?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "All right."
Well, I have made up, because I have like I have business plans that I would like to lay out to people that really dive in. Not so much like, yeah.
You also have the business.
It wasn't like the nudge, like, hey, I shoot video, like I can do some stuff, like, yeah.
That's all I do.
I want it to be contract based, real deal, and really like get it moving and show the seriousness of it. And I don't have a lot of financial things that I can bring, but I have, some knowledge, and I am a published artist, which is.
That's like this guy that, so my job now is I'm the residential representative of Ray Supplies for installs. So people that want really big, fancy home automation with home theater systems, lighting control and all that other stuff. Like I talk to those people and then I set up meetings and schedules for our installers to go, and then I'll write up proposals. So I'll talk to the installers, and they'll say, this is all the stuff they need. I'm like, all right. So I put it into a thing, and I talk back and forth with the customer. Yep. And there's this one guy who has a nice big multi-million-dollar home in Lake George, and he is the manager, or not the manager, but he's like he's the head person for just the marketing company of this large medical distributing.
Yeah.
And it's like his job is literally big picture. Like he makes a substantial amount of money.
Clearly.
And all his job really is because he has the goal, he has the motivation, and he's able to like make people work where most people just say like, oh yeah, we should do this. I'm like, yeah, we should do that. And then they're like, all right.
That's it. That's what the conversation ends there. That's 90% of the time, that's what happens.
He's the person that will say, okay, we need this person. We need this. The funding has to be here. You at this desk, you call this person. And he's the one that will he has the
means to see it through.
The energy, I think, honestly.
Well, that's the other thing, because everything sounds good at first until you realize how hard it is.
Yeah.
And then it's not fun. And once the fun's gone, you don't want to do it, because that's the whole reason you wanted to do it in the first place.
And obviously experience comes into it, because he doesn't just like say, oh, we should do this. And then it's like all of a sudden everyone.
Well, yeah, you can't have you can have crazy ideas and have it not work. But like, that's not what you want. You want to have realistic ideas that will work in a future that we're so uncertain of.
Which is crazy too, because it's like I'm so used to like starting stuff and I like and failing each time and getting better that it's like there is a high likely chance that this will fail. But it's like
everything. I mean, there's things that are thriving that are still failing.
I think that this won't necessarily fail just because of the group.
What's your definition of failing?
Like all of a sudden it's just like everyone kind of disbands, or
that's gonna happen.
I can't have the time or something like that. It's like something like that
will happen, but okay.
I'd rather fade out. I'm really good at making stuff fade out. I'm happy with a fade out.
I hope you don't. I will be, and I've been that person, I think, quite a few times for you, where when we don't talk for a while, you kind of get down. And but this was major for you, that you were doing all of this from a conversation we had in March. So it was good to see that not fizzle out, or whatever energy you did get, you put it into this, and it'll fail by industry standards, or it'll fail by whoever standards. But as long as you don't feel as it failed, because you saw it through, like you're making a podcast right now. That's what you're doing. So it's like you went through this whole thing. You're gonna post this, and one other human being other than me and you is gonna watch this. Whether they watch it through the whole thing or they don't, or whatever it may be, or however you cut this up. But that's not failure. That to some people would be like, oh, you only got 4 views. Okay, that's
4 more than I expected.
4 more than you had, and 4 more than that person that's talking shit to you right now has.
Yeah,
or
true.
Ever will. Yeah. Because they care. They care. And that's what you can't. I don't see it failing as long as you put an honest effort forward.
And I think the biggest part about like me feeling as if I'm more of a director type is because I have a really bad issue with like as a kid when you're told you can be anything you want. Like I took that to heart and I like refused to let it go because I refuse to do anything for too long that I don't enjoy doing. I will either I'm not saying I just quit, but I find the way to get out of that situation and elevate to something else. Like I used to work as a job. I was a lead ice sculptor for. Yeah.
Yep, you were.
I worked in an ice sculpting business for 5 years. I started as an internship in high school. I got it because I took heavy equipment in my senior year. And
that would have been amazing if you followed that career path.
It was so different. I was so bad at it. I just took it because like everyone else in my dad's family did that. So I just did
not to knock anyone that does that because most of my friends are actually in construction.
And all of them make a lot of money.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But I was a good operator and I understood how to get the work done. I'm a terrible mechanic.
Oh.
And everything that involves stuff like that. Like I feel so uncomfortable wearing like steel toe boots and like a jacket and it's so weird. So it's like I've always been artsy. Like I would be the kid that like if someone calls me gay, like I don't care. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll suck your dick. Get what to it. But I don't know
if we should put that in, but
no, I don't care. This is an open podcast. But I used to get like picked on for just being the way I was as an artsy person.
Well, yeah, because you were pushing the mold. Like the mold was not what you were doing, and if you didn't fit it, you got picked on, which is the outcast group of most people. And there are so many outcasts that are gaining the recognition in today's world now than that they didn't in high school because whatever reason there's still this thing about I think it's getting I don't know, I shouldn't say that because the kids I've seen in today's world are fucking crazy.
Yeah. I think it's really good. It's like,
oh my God. And I just
like Brittany's younger sister. She's like she's in like that TikTok group. She's kind of an outcast too, which is like perfect. Yeah. She's very like, she is her own person and it's great. But what I was saying was that those other people were so in a weird spot. And I was just like, well, I don't want to just follow this heavy equipment career because it's going to lead to money. It's like, so when I got the opportunity to start the internship as an ice sculptor, I thought it was crazy. I was just like, what, you can make money like
sculpting
ice
into a dolphin
like I didn't do a dolphin, but I made a giant fish one time. So
it's like the same thing.
But so I started that and I still was getting like kind of picked on for being like, whoa, what is that? Like, what do you do? Like, what is all that stuff? And it was like, but it was something where it was really cool. It was creative and it was just different. But like any other job, it was a job. And eventually it got to a point where...
Then it wasn't fun anymore.
It was a small business, so I wasn't making a lot of money. And I was making enough when I first started. But it got to the point where it's like, it just became like a real job and I wasn't happy. And that's when I got the job at Ray Supply. And I kind of I didn't just quit. Me and my boss had a very understanding,
you phased out of it.
I just phased out of it.
Like you do with, as you said, like you do with a lot of things. You phase them out.
That's where I was getting to.
So.
And then I was started at Ray Supply and there was some, I'm not going to get into the detail of Ray Supply, but there was some downsizing to the company. And I kind of realized that the retail isn't as large as it used to be. And there was a few people that were let go. And I, fortunately, because I showed the motivation from, yes, I started there for photography and
you're also young.
And that's what I started. But I showed an interest in the install division, which is the company that actually is Ray Supply. And I was actually brought in under my boss as a part of that. And that was because I found a way to kind of glide myself in to what I thought would be a better financial and sustainable part. But I wasn't unhappy with doing retail, but I just knew that I would get tired of it because I stopped doing photography at the time. I wasn't doing as much because I was talking about cameras and all this stuff all day. And now it's I kind of moved myself to this other position where it's cool. It's a really nice job. I get a lot of cool benefits of being able to work there. But now it's like I have the motivation to do everything else. And like those are the only 2 jobs.
Well, now is the time to do that.
Yeah.
Especially, it really is, because the window of opportunity is getting smaller as it becomes a more saturated thing. This is going to become the norm. What we're doing is going to become the norm in the next 5-10 years.
It's so weird too, because I already listen. I don't listen to podcasts anymore. I used to when I did ice sculpting, because it was a lot of like downtime. And now I have to like answer phone calls.
This is going to be instead of, and I would love to see this happen. But instead of the news, like the local news that you turn on the TV to watch, you're going to, in 5 years, 10 years, 15 maybe, I don't know, 15 at the max, but you'll listen to it while you're in your kitchen of people like me and you bantering about local issues. And the thing is, it's creating a voice now, and you're seeing it more in the political, which I dislike, but it's good because now the conversations are starting. They never were because they were so muted, and you can see the turmoil in all of the broadcast stations is they're slowly falling in because there's a voice outside, and it's the internet, and you can't stop the internet because it's so big and there's so many people behind it.
It's crazy.
And how
I was just thinking about that with just YouTube alone. I met a bunch of.
You got to think what YouTube did to the network industry of TV. Oh, absolutely destroyed it.
Unfortunately, it's going
single-handedly destroyed it
now. But
and that is insane, and it hasn't been that long. If you go back to 2008 on a YouTube video and look what it looked like a potato made that.
Yeah.
And to where so YouTube was just a thing that it was kind of like break.com. You would just upload funny videos of doing whatever, and they were horrible quality, and that's what it was. And now all of a sudden it turned into this television network platform that is paying people millions of dollars to create content.
It's like it's like people like, if you know me, you know I really like David Dobrik. He started on Vine, and he makes 4-minute and 20-second videos, 420. Yeah. And it's like, I don't think he actually does drugs or anything.
Maybe, but
maybe, I don't know. But his skits are literally just skits. Like, he records stuff, and he just makes, it's like America's Funniest Home Videos, but only the highlight reel, and it's just him and his friends.
Yeah.
And actually, what's really cool about, he has this like kind of slogan, or one of his friends does, similar process to this is, if you don't like me, you might like one of my friends, so maybe you should watch anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because the thing is,
but it's crazy because he makes millions of. He makes so much money that he had a tweet about like paying over $200,000 in taxes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It sounds crazy. I mean, this is the world we live in now, and if you don't understand it, accept it, and move on.
He has a podcast too.
I do. I've actually watched it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I love podcasts. I think that I say this to everyone. Everyone should have a podcast. I say this to my friends that are technology illiterate, and I have some funny friends that could talk about they could have a talk show, and they could talk about anything, and they would do well with it. And it's a scary thought to put in people's heads, because these people, if you were to see them, you'd be like, oh, they're just some hillbilly. That's how I refer to my friends. But because I'm the friend that like I kind of like turn the knife a little bit, and I start the conversation of, why don't you do that? Why? I always ask why, and they give me some bullshit answer, and I say, well, you should try it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because I was even saying I wish I started a podcast forever ago, not even just for the audience. Like
it's good to talk. It's just good. You know what it is? It's good to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Just to just let things out.
And have a reason for it. Saying, hey, I'm doing a podcast. It's a lot different for, hey, do you want to just like talk on the phone for a little while?
Yeah, but we've probably talked about things that no one cares about, and maybe we've talked about things that people do, and when they hear them, that'll be cool if it pushes somebody to do something, or they're more intrigued and they want to learn more, they see more, or whatever it may be. But that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely hit some like weird patches in this one, but
absolutely.
Overall,
this is the first one. I've never done this. You've never done this.
I've talked to myself.
For the most part, I talk to myself all the time.
But I think overall, because this was an intro to you,
I think I would like to say that you'll see more of me, because
most likely,
Zach and I, we always have ideas, and I would like to definitely pick people's brains with you.
That's another thing I want to make real quick before I forget. Okay. So this podcast, we've gotten to know you.
Mm-hmm. Gotten to know me.
We've gotten to have random conversations.
Yep.
And they were topical and they were untopical.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, that's essentially what I was going to say about the Peter McKinnon thing. It's like he made a tutorial, so it made him relevant. It made you appreciate him.
Yeah.
And then he was able to introduce like his daily life.
Yeah. Then he put his daily life in. But the only thing about Peter that really bothers me, and I hope this video finds him. I really do. He needs to really see what mobbing, quote unquote, because he uses that a lot in his videos. Mobbing, a snowmobile, a 4-wheeler, and from someone that knows the action sports industry, not as well as others, but I have friends that I could introduce him to really show him what mobbing.
What is mobbing?
It's when he like really is like thrashing on a 4-wheeler, doing just like some like really extreme things on his
What's he
machines.
just doing a donut?
Yeah, if he's doing a donut or if he's doing like carving on the snowmobiles in the backcountry and stuff like that.
Yes, I haven't watched any of that.
I would love to connect and show him what mobbing really is. But that's, that's down the street.
Yeah, that's a weird tangent too. Way to go, Adam.
Well, I just thought that's a thought.
I
saw it. I'm sorry. That's the beauty of this is there's no, unless we're going to talk about a serious topic, which we could, and I think that's how we can kind of interact with the audience. Is we want to, whoever's watching this, what do they want?
That's actually what
hear?
I want to do. So I've
you definitely would need to do.
I definitely have been wanting to do a show. Like I want to do.
Oh, I would love to do
an actual show. Like with Funhouse, they have. It's the same content, but they just have different topics. Like they will have a different game show. They'll have like the Wheelhouse, demo disc, and the regular gameplay. It's all the same show, but they just like on Wheelhouse, it's like they will play a random game. They don't get to pick it. Demo disc, it's like they still play a random game, but then at the end of that video, they'll watch like Rule 34 versions of that game. Like that's the catch. So it's like I want to have something where each episode will have different topics. And I had something that was on my mind and I forgot because you started going on a tangent.
Sorry. No, that's what happens though. I mean, I think that's why you should write these things down for the next host. Because I mean, unless it's somebody you're close with, I guess like me, where it wouldn't be so bad to have that like
Oh, I remembered it.
What?
So I watched this podcast and I listened to this podcast.
Oh, by the way, yeah, well,
watching.
I just want to clear this up. That statement right there is I have a friend who I said that to, that I watched Joe Rogan's podcast, and he goes, it's a podcast, you listen to podcasts, and I go, whatever the fuck you want to call it, because they say podcast, and if anybody can tell us what the real technical term is, that would be phenomenal so I can solve that argument. But from now on, until someone corrects me with real facts, I'm just going to watch podcasts and listen to them. But correct me if I'm wrong, please.
I've only watched Joe Rogan's on his YouTube channel. But
I watch a lot of people's podcasts that I also listen to, because a podcast, they will record that same video podcast that they're recording.
Video podcast, yeah.
I guess, but it's still the word podcast is in there. But
it's essentially a talk show.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, fair enough. But with the podcast, the audio versions, they do like Q&As, or they do a little something extra because obviously they want you to listen to the podcast. There's more. There's always more content. There will be no more. I'm sorry. Not right now. As far as after. But
1 second. Just turn your mic this way for a sec. There we go. For people just listening to the podcast, I turned Adam's mic around. That's fine. So I listened to this podcast. It's called What Should We Draw? So it's these illustrators that work for a company.
Yeah.
And the entire premise is people send in ideas, and because they're illustrators and they're comic creators, they will take all those random ideas and try to make a 4-panel comic out of these things. So it's like someone sent in a thing and all it said was no good, very bad house, yes. And they were like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
And they were like, no good, very bad house, yes. And so they made like some haunted house comic out of it. And it was
That's cool.
But they came up with an entire story. Like, why is it no good, very bad? It's like, is it no good? And
it's like a double standard. Like no good, very bad. So you're using two things to describe the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like they kind of developed on that. And so at the end of their show, when they publish their podcast, they will have a 4-panel comic that will go to it. And that's essentially what it is. So I have all these ideas that I save in my phone for video ideas. So I was like, what if we, in each podcast, like not every podcast, I want to have like 4 different categories, post them on different days and whatnot. One-on-one interviews, and then have like a group podcast where it's just a general topics where we will have specific topics to talk about.
That could be like more so like the show. Like you could make that more, because the show you'd obviously want to have, I think, more personality on there than just the 2 people, because the one-on-one is so personal. Yeah, I get, in a sense, it's so much more personal because it's only 2 people. Yeah,
and then I also want to have podcasts where it's not just me. Like I want other people to record stuff, and then just I take ownership of that and post it on my thing. No.
Well, no, that I mean, if the traffic is there and the audience is here, like if it's here, then that's not. But that's why we have it. That's why you build a team of people.
That's why I'm thinking do the one-on-one interviews, build everyone's knowledge of who the person is, get them familiar. Do the group podcast to see how they interact.
But this is the only other thing you don't want to do, and you can take this however you want. Is you don't want to spread yourself too thin too quickly. So you want to try to. So we have this.
That's why I'm starting off with all the interviews.
And then you go from there, and then collectively, I think if the group is moving towards a certain thing, then I think that avenue should be followed. But spreading yourself too thin, because then you're going to try to do too much and burn yourself out.
No, yeah. That's why I want to definitely do the interviews, see who's comfortable with it, see who's going to come back, and then do those group things.
Well, everyone was very about this, but I'm curious, because how are people on camera? Because I'm horrible on camera. And I don't know if other people would. I mean, this is the whole thing is right on the spot.
It's really nice that you moved that light, because I had it like really close and it was really bright.
Well, I tried to spread it so it's a little softer, and I don't know. But we're gonna work on that, the production value a little bit as we move forward. So
yeah, that's why I wanted to do those conference rooms. I already said this, just because instead of having to focus on what your environment is, if it's just a clean slate conference room, and that's fine. Like people can forgive that.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to be able to do multiple cameras.
I personally like the messiness of this place.
That's Brittany's side. My side's over there, behind the camera, and it's only like a few feet. It's not that big. But I want to do multiple cameras. That way I can cut back and forth.
Well, yeah. So you want to have 2 different angles. Yep. As we get rolling.
But we have that 30-minute limit on this. That's why I'm using OBS to record this. And then I'll probably end up making like a tutorial.
You don't need a really nice camera for the second angle, right?
No.
Have you seen Rogan's podcast? They use I swear to God, they use a potato. They do.
You probably use
it is so trash. And I don't understand. He gets millions of views.
Well, I'll use this for camera A, recording on OBS, and then I'll use your red for camera B.
I mean, we're definitely going to use the red for some things, and I'm super excited for some personal projects that we're going to work on. But yeah, that's a whole nother.
But yeah, I definitely have some ideas for doing shows. Like even if it's like not everyone is a filmmaker, but I think it'd be really cool if like in an episode we like come up with a premise, or we do some sort of like Mad Lib to come up with a premise, and we have to like write a script, like a start, beginning, or like I think
I can't write a script. I can film it for sure, but I might be able to write I can think of a story, writing it down and having an actual script. That would be tough because I am not a writer. Okay. I barely passed high school.
I do think it would be cool. Oh man, me too. That's cool. But I do think it would be cool to do a couple like game shows where it's like someone is the game master, and then there's like a couple, and then maybe like a 3-way podcast. I keep saying 3-way. A 3-person podcast. One person sits here. They have like a thing, and it's like you have to name this stuff, and then it's like they have like.
Well, no, you want to do it in I think if you're talking about having 3 people, 3 or more people, you want to be the talk show host, which is always. So if you were to look at it, here you are. If you look at any late night show, like a Conan or whatever.
We could do like a Jeopardy.
Here, and then you have 2 chairs.
Yeah.
Same thing. And that looks really good. Aesthetically,
or the one chair, 1 and 2 people on the couch.
Yeah, no,
because I have this couch to the side, and I have a gaming chair. I mean, I don't have the room in here.
You definitely have. You have the room in here.
I know, but it doesn't look good.
No, we could make it. I promise we could make it work.
Yeah, but I don't want to move all Brittany's stuff.
Worst case, actually, we could actually do some of mine if we got my.
Oh yeah, your office is.
If I
you got rid of all your gear.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my office around. There's just a ton of shit in there right now.
We could use your living room.
We could actually.
Because you have that couch that you
my God,
use.
We could, and oh my God, we actually, that would be primo because I have the hue lights as well, and I have some plants.
The hue lights look like shit on camera. Just remember that. We'll have to figure
no,
out
they
the
don't.
frequency.
No, I don't. Yeah, but
We
you
need
have
to figure out the refresh rate of the frames per second, all that stuff.
Well, if we do any at my house, then we'll probably link up. We'll probably run this same setup, but with the red.
Except for the red, you won't need to use OBS.
Well, it all depends on what I use for.
Well, this is running directly to that, so it's not using the cameras like.
Well, no, that's what I mean.
So it's compressing it.
The red, I ordered two 240 gig cards with it. So I don't know what that'll.
So that's like 5 minutes.
No, it's actually the red record time is actually way more reasonable than people think. Like 12 to 1.
Well, what would we record at?
We would only. You would never. It's only a 5K Dragon sensor, so it's only 5K at the full output, which is still.
Because the other stuff's 8, right?
No, I didn't buy. I bought them.
No, but they have the.
They have like the helium sensor and stuff, which is 8K. But like the one that I bought.
Isn't the sensor size only like this big?
No,
like,
well, if you look, I mean.
Or is it huge?
It's pretty big.
It's like a square more than a rectangle, right?
Yeah, because I mean, really, you should be shooting anamorphic for the most part. That's what those cameras. That's where they really shine is in anamorphic. And you can shoot true 4x3 or 6x5 on those sensors, depending on what you're using for lenses and the crop factors and all that. But we'll probably shoot it at 5K. So.
Well, it's just gonna be one.
But it's only. But like, we could still record like.
And we're not gonna chop it up. So
hour.
editing it will literally just be color grade. That's it.
Yeah, and then because by the time we get to that point, this will be way more constructive, and not.
This podcast could just be the two of us, and then.
Yeah, I mean, we could just talk about. I mean, we'll see how people like this. I swear, people are gonna be like, "Get this kid off of the mic."
I did see a couple of. I'm gonna check my phone real quick. Oh my god.
Is it anybody?
Can't wait to listen. Oh, I forgot to add Tyler to this. Who's this kid, Tyler?
We should have just done a live for our group. We should have done a live feed.
I have all the stuff. I could live stream this.
We
But the audio going into OBS is not going to be as good. I mean, but that's why I record separately. And then I can just put it in and then upload it to YouTube that way.
Mm.
But yeah, I could live stream one. I even have the stream deck.
We could. I think if we're gonna live stream, that's a time for another place. With a different conversation.
Want to do a live stream show.
But
like really bad, like multiple cameras, switching stuff back and forth. Have two people on something, have someone here, and then have one person just manually edits, and then just adding in their input.
I think we should. That'd be cool. I don't know what we would talk about, but that's when we get to that, place.
Like Funhouse. Honestly, Funhouse is like one of the biggest inspirations I have for how I do things.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily what they do, because they do gaming. I don't do gaming. I suck at games. But how they go about having a community is really cool. If you guys don't know who Funhouse is, it's a YouTube channel where it's a collective like 4 or 5 people, and they do really cool gameplays and other stuff related to games. It's spelled Funhaus.
I think that I'm curious to see the opinions from our group and see what they think of the first podcast and see how we did.
They're gonna just say it's really good.
No, I hope they don't. And if they do, I'm kicking them out of the group because they're lying. I know that they're lying because I just do.
Tell us how.
I want a report card. Actually, I want a report card A through F. And our group needs to.
I want points.
I want you to send this video or this right here because some of the group has no idea who I am. There's maybe 3 people in that group.
There's Josh. There's
Josh. Cameron might know who I am.
Cameron does know.
It's so funny, actually. I have never met Cameron, never spoken to that kid, and we went to the same high school.
It's funny because he remembers Brittany, and Brittany only went to Granville for 3 months.
I don't remember Brittany at all, but he's also younger.
No, Brittany went for her last 3 years.
Yeah, he's also younger than me, too.
He's my age.
It's funny because we both do the same thing. We've never met each other ever.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Ever.
I didn't meet him until like a couple months ago.
Yeah, no,
and I followed him on Instagram for the last
He's got
year.
a pretty good. His YouTube channel is pretty sweet.
He has over 5,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, no, he's because he does video tutorials. I'm telling you, the BTS stuff is insane.
That's why I made my tutorial.
I know, but it how many
mine is totally wrong. It has 80 views.
Oh my god!
All of them are from people that I told to watch.
So that would me and him talking because we do the same thing as far as filming weddings and stuff. He actually does he does better than I do. But we also have 2 different
It's
film.
weird, and he's like, He's married. I think he has a
Yeah.
house. I'm just like,
We
well,
have-
no, I'm just kidding.
We have two different filming styles, though. But I'd be curious to pick each other's brains on that. That'd be a good group one.
Yeah,
Good
I
talk
think
show.
great.
That'd be fun. And because we're from the same high school and everything, that would be cool.
Yeah, how did these two people with a graduating class of?
Yeah, well, because he was what? He's 23. Is he 23? Yeah.
I think he's like 22, maybe.
All right, so he's way younger than me. At least 4 or 5 years younger than me. But he's worked with people that I know. And it would be an interesting conversation to have and see where.
I'm really interested in seeing Tate and Vinny's.
Oh my God!
What
So
they're
have you actually? You've had conversations. Obviously, you've seen them because they came in Race Supply. But Tate is wild.
really.
I've
only really talking to Vinny. I mean, I've talked to Tate.
That's so funny because she
In the
told me
group.
that Vinny is very shy. Because the time I did that photo shoot in Saratoga with her, which was the first time I ever met her.
Yeah, what the fuck? They asked me to help them with photos. I told you about it, and then like a week later, I saw you posting.
No, it's funny. Well, because she had posted something on Instagram about collabing with a local photographer, and I'm horrible for anyone that knows me at taking pictures of people. And I
which
was
is weird because they look. I think it's mostly them because they are hers, like because they always take.
I had to
photos.
direct. It was really weird, but I've like gotten this like crazy weird flow, and I started like taking some pretty decent pictures, and I was like, man, this is really fun. This is really good. And her and I have some things set up for 2019, but they would be good because her personality, her brother Tom, he has a podcast. He
Oh really?
Yeah, he has the No Bad Dogs podcast. Tom Davis. He owns America's Canine Educator. That's her brother. He's
got the one that's
his place is in Clifton Park, but they have the same kind of personality. They talk and they're very good at it, and they're just very consuming people.
It's weird too because I don't want to be one of those people that like, oh, you have 11,000 followers.
And I always talk shit to her about her followers because and she'll say the same thing about she doesn't certain likes and this and that and all this stuff, and she calls her followers out too. I think everyone should follow her just because she taught like
it's really funny.
She calls out the weirdos, and I love
it's
how
really
she
funny.
exposes
Yeah, she
it.
did that like a day or two ago.
Mhm.
She posted something where someone was like telling, I forget what they were doing, but they were messengers like a bunch of like, oh, what's up, love,
weird,
or something like that.
Weird shit. Yeah, people are weird.
That must suck to be a girl.
People are especially like because she posts some risque things on her socials, and people are weird, man. Especially on the internet, people are so strange because they never have to see you. So it's like people have so many skeletons and just I love it. I think it's so funny.
Yeah,
because like the internet and how the culture is now, it's exposing those people like insane.
But yeah, definitely something like that because they have like a decent like.
Oh, they have a huge following for at least for locally, and their clothing company is.
I want to know. I want to ask. I want like.
They have a good story. They have a good story, like that story of how it started and all that.
I haven't heard it, so I don't.
And Vin, like he's got a good story. She's got a really good story. They're very interesting. Their thing will be very good.
That's the thing I'm like biggest because I think, regardless for how it might affect like who will watch, because I don't think their audience will necessarily be like, oh, what's this, a podcast? Like,
no, absolutely not. But we're not doing it for the brand. We're doing it for the people that are behind the brand.
Exactly.
You're bringing these small businesses, and that's what we talked about before. Is you're bringing these small businesses on.
And I think the people that this podcast will be geared for, they would be like a perfect. Goddamn, my dog just keeps scratching at the door. They would be like the perfect place to like to tell how to start, because I know that they have a substantial following, but it's like I want to know how long and how much they had to grind before they even saw anything, because it's like,
well, they still do,
because you definitely
her and I had this conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it still does, but it's like they're at a point where at least I've seen their advertisement, and I found that about their clothing before I knew them on social media. I mean, before I knew them in person, and then I met them in real life, and I didn't realize it was them, just because I saw their clothing everywhere. Like I knew, I saw people on the streets.
I've never actually seen a piece of their clothing except for the photo shoot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see people with their clothes like all the time. It's weird.
Just her. And then it's funny now that her and I are friends, and I see more people and it's cool though, because locally now more people are supporting, and that's the other thing too, is you have, and I don't know how many times it needs to be talked about, and there's that thing that floats around the internet, but we have all these people that we know, yet they don't really support us I'm guilty of it, and you're guilty of it. Everyone is guilty of it. Like, but
I
everyone
can even say the same thing about like my family for like Christmas. It's like we sell a lot of stuff at Ray Supply.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll go to like Walmart.
Yeah, well,
It's like just because it's cheaper.
That's the other thing. But I have friends that I have a close group of friends that know what I'm worth and they know how much I charge and they can't afford it. And but I'll help people out. I'm not opposed to helping people out because I think it's good karma. But I'm trying to think where I was just going with that. Oh my God. I just had the worst, like, because I just thought of so many different things with that conversation. That's the worst. That's the worst thing about this.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of pressure.
It's the pressure to get it back.
What were we just talking about?
You were just talking about how people with worth and their friends and.
Oh yeah. It's just how we have these local businesses and very few of our friends support it. And it sucks because that's like the core. That's what gets the word out because they have friends that you don't know that it's like boom, boom, boom. And that's the spider web effect of it all. And we don't have that. And that's unfortunate.
I think the biggest place that I see like local support is at O'Toole's. Like I see so many people at O'Toole's all the time. But it's like I'd rather go there because it's a local like restaurant.
Yeah. And they do a lot of good too. Like they did that thing for Austin when he got sick, and that was the coolest thing ever. For how much people rallied.
That was kind of like one of the only things that I've seen though.
Something on that scale. I mean, they gave away like a motorcycle. They sold all that stuff. They had the shirts, and it was just very cool to see people. But in the same sense, it kind of you see the good in people when like death could be a thing. And that scares people. That thought scares. So out of fear will help support because that what if they're gone? But like you're healthy, living, breathing. Why aren't you doing it now? Why aren't you doing that same thing right now?
That's like the Southlands Falls marathon dances.
That thing they should be making quadruple the amount of money they're making.
They're making a lot though.
They are making a lot,
but
I
think they're making almost like $1 million.
No, they make over that. They've done more. They do over $1 million. No, I'm not talking like millions and millions, but like over $1 million. They've made it over $1 million.
I can't remember. I was actually
per year
doing photos at the last one. I couldn't remember if it was 800,000 or maybe 1.800
yeah.
or something.
I mean, it's still a substantial amount of money for a local school to make, but as far as they should have more national coverage and they should honestly put it in the budget for the school and this whatever, because I don't live in Southlands Falls, but I think this is a big deal for them. It is a big deal in general. They're helping so many people with what they're doing. They should hire a good marketing agency to really help. And I know they want the students to really be the core of it and they don't want to like pay, but I bet you could get somebody to donate their time, a company locally, a marketing company that can really help bring it to the next level. And that's the same conversation though. It's like that on a scale like that, you're still like only getting a little bit of local support when there could be so much more.
Yeah.
But there's an ego thing too. Like I think ego is one of the biggest killers of business because you have people that don't want to buy your thing because it might be the right thing, but they don't like you or they don't like someone you associate with, or they're envious or whatever it may be, and the ego gets in the way of that, and that's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually like really tough. Like even getting some stuff from like work, it's like I got my original mixer from there. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not saying that this is a good reason for me to not end up keeping the mixer from there, but I got a mixer and it was faulty, but that wasn't like, but that wasn't my work's fault. I got it directly from Sanus. Yeah. But then like just because I had to like order it from the distributor and get it sent to the store, that's actually what takes forever.
Yeah.
So if we just had all that stuff in stock, it's like, yeah, you could just come pick it up. And it's like we aren't at that place anymore because no one's buying stuff locally.
Because there was a culture and it's not here anymore.
It's like we have the same exact prices as any big box store.
You have a better product because a lot of the products that go to a Walmart or a Target were specifically made for that store. And you can look Best Buy, perfect example. Go to Best Buy, go look at their TVs they sell. They're not the same TVs that you would go buy from Sony's website. It says it right on the box.
Yeah.
Little fun fact. And it says it on the back of the TV on the serial number because I have one. And all those Black Friday TVs, they're all just disposable. They're just all the B model.
Yeah, even
That's
like
all that
for
is.
us, we couldn't really take any because with a small store like Ray Supply, it's like we have the same exact map pricing as any like big box store. Like, but if you go to Best Buy and you go to like B&H and you go to us, it's like we all have the same pricing because Sony sets those prices.
Yeah,
it's like we don't get to do that. So anytime we can give you a deal, it's usually like on something where we just have a larger margin, but it's usually a smaller item.
Yeah,
and we would actually lose money. The only reasons why big box stores can do those like undercut us prices is because they can order larger quantities.
Well, yeah, that's just how
at a better
works.
rate. And it's kind of sucks because I guess there was at one point in the 70s where there was like 6 Ray Supply stores, which is insane.
Yeah, because there was, they were the few that they were the people that knew how to do a small niche market. And it's funny though, because you get those people that were in it back then when Ray Supply was really booming, and those same customers that are old, you still see them. But like their marketing, and actually I can't even really talk bad about Ray Supply because they've always done good by me.
The biggest thing is
their marketing is horrible. It's horrendous.
Oh, it's because it's me. Like
Zach, you are just trash at their marketing.
It's me and Tom. It's like
I'm gonna blame. Oh, definitely blaming Tom.
Oh,
it's not your fault whatsoever. You did a great job. Tom, horrible.
No, it's funny because like a lot of the owners, it's like me, Tom, and Patrick.
Yeah.
Like we all started within the last 2.5 years, and we're the youngest people.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the youngest person at Ray Supply by 8 years. Well, Patrick just started.
Yeah.
He's my
I remember some of the old dudes. I used to go in there back when I first got into photography and stuff, like 2000. My mom used to take me there before I could drive, and it was cool. And they had the guitar section, and they had all this stuff, and they could have, not them specifically because they're just retail, but I think that someone should have created the culture, and they didn't, and that is now left up to somebody. Someone needs to do it. And whether
someone with the funding, and someone from Wall Street that has
it's not honestly, you know what it's not even the funding, because again, like the only reason you need the funding is for the gear, and the gear doesn't matter as long as you're creating. And it's cliche to say, coming from someone that just spent $20,000 on a camera setup, but I also started with either hand-me-down things used. I never had new gear ever. This is my first time ever spending money on a brand new camera. I buy everything used, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't. Unless you can afford to buy something new and you need it right now, and that's fine and it's in the budget, good, do it. Because a new product is always fun. But somebody that didn't have a lot of money growing up and had to figure out how to make it happen, is you just use things, and it makes it more accessible. And you just create. And I used the excuse for gear for the longest time. And that's why I bought the C100. And I bought it for the wrong reasons, and it wasn't the right fit, and I wasn't ready for it, and that's why I dumped it. And that was not even a year ago. And then I bought a bunch of cheap Sonys and cheap lenses, and, made my business what it is now, and transitioning into where I would like to go. Maybe not so much creating. I want to be the production company that offers the gear for you to use to be able to create. And that's where, I still love to create things, and I have a lot of passion projects that I would like to work on. But I would like to be the person that is able to put the camera, who can't afford it, in their hand for the day, to be able to create an idea that they have and have that be a thing here. Because, whether it be lights or lenses, and I really want to I want to be able to educate people the correct way. And not like I know a lot, because I didn't go to film school. And there's people that know the real technical terms, and as I try to learn them, because you should, and you need to really understand why things work the way they work. But you don't need to get the technical stuff can ruin you for sure.
Like I didn't know the difference between like the way that like stops for light work.
Yeah, no, it's actually that
is like a.
Oh, I have a book that I'm still reading, and it's understanding like what like true light and how camera sensors read it, and that whole thing is crazy. And there's so many people that don't know. Great example. and this really is the best example for a while, is you'd see people on Instagram, photographers, natural light. That's what they put in their bio. Is I'm a natural light photographer. I only use natural light. That tells me right there that you have no idea what light is. And you can make pictures look pretty, certain harsh sunlight, but you don't know light and you don't know flash. And if you don't know, and I didn't know, and I will be the first to say this, like I didn't know that much about photography until this year, until I really, really, something clicked, something like really clicked. And I just started to make sense. Everything started to make sense. Within the past 3 years of things that I learned, it all started to make sense. And the light thing started to make sense. And that's why I started getting into more studio stuff, because I was really bad at it. And now I really love to do it.
I still have like a lot of studio stuff. Like I another thing with this, like I want to be able to take like a nice studio portrait of everyone.
Well, that would be
for like this, just a collective of things.
Well, I have a video that I would like to do. Like a interview style of this, but in actual like film form. So, but it's very question specific, and somebody's the interviewer and we're filming it, something like that. I've
tried to do that. I actually have footage from this girl Carly's business that I tried to make an ad for, and I didn't I had all my questions lined up, and it's like I asked her chef. And then I asked her all the same questions, got completely different answers, and I couldn't put them together. The chef was able to put her answers to a specific statement, and then where Carly was she was the creator, so she had all these things, so I wasn't able to fit them together. So it kind of fell apart, but she wasn't paying me for it, and it's that's completely fine. I didn't ask her for any money. I was I just wanted to try something, and it didn't work out. So we didn't lose anything, but we didn't really gain much besides just the experience of failure,
which is fine. The experience is huge. That's where you learn. You learn more from failing than you do trying to read something and learn it and trying to
because when you learn it, it's like you were saying.
Well, you don't know the other side of it. That's the thing. You only know how it's supposed to work. You don't know what happens when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn. That's where you gain the most knowledge. It's okay, so this can never happen again because of this reason.
My favorite thing, and I say this sarcastically, is I was trying to get all this audio stuff set up, and I was playing back audio from Audition, and it was working fine. But then I clicked something.
Yeah.
And then it all the external audio went away. I couldn't hear a single thing. It was reading the waveforms.
Yeah.
Nothing was coming back. I switched back everything. Still wasn't working. I had to exit out of the program.
Yeah.
Reopen it. And I opened up that same program. Still wasn't doing it. I created a new file and it worked fine.
Yeah.
And I just re-recorded something. And then I clicked something else again and it went away. And I pushed a button. The audio went away. I undid it. Audio wouldn't come back. So there's a glitch.
Yeah.
In something, and it's those are the type of problems I have a lot.
Yeah.
That I just want to kill myself.
Well, that's that's why Google is your friend.
No, that's just it.
Or YouTube. And I swear, if you're having a problem, 30 other people already did.
That's the issue with the opening title for my video that I made with the font.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Final Cut.
It's an actual glitch in the new Premiere, and the only way to do it is reverting back to the old one. But the only issue is that I have everything downloaded.
Yeah.
So what had happened was I had this template, and I didn't have the font initially installed. I went to use the font, and it was oh, you don't have this font, so we're just going to substitute it with a Times New Roman or Arial or whatever. I was oh, okay. Well, I exited out. I downloaded the font, open it back up, and it won't select the new font. I uninstalled the templates, exit out of the program, start a new program, open it back up, and it's still just reading it in Times New Roman, and it's a glitch in the new Premiere Pro. Yeah, and it's it's an issue where they're saying we don't have a workaround for this right now.
That's way above my pay grade.
It's are you kidding me? It's I pay.
That's a worst case scenario, right?
I pay
all this money and you guys don't have an answer. Are you kidding me? What?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that covers all about me. If anyone cared, we could have conversation all day about everything. And,
unfortunately, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've had a good 2 hours of talking almost, and
it's almost 10
hopefully,
o'clock.
Hopefully everyone out there enjoyed things we had to say. Hopefully they didn't, because that will start a conversation also.
Hopefully next time Adam won't cut me off as much.
Oh, I will cut everyone off. I that's the thing. Hopefully, let's look back on this in a year and see if I still cut people off.
Oh, 100%.
Probably worse. And I hope that
you're going to go back to your arrogance, because all this is going to go to your head and be like, look at all this stuff I know. And
no,
you don't.
I don't know anything. I literally don't know anything.
None of us do. It's so crazy. I always think about like all the stuff that I've made, and people are like, "Oh my God, Zach, that's awesome." I'm just like, I was just doing things as I figured them out.
Yeah, that's
and I'm just like,
that's how everyone does it.
It's like, how many times has Michael Bay made a movie and he's just like, "Hey, I guess that thing I tried out for the first time worked."
I'm the same way. If I don't know, like if I know 75% of how to do something, there's a good chance I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it a go. Maybe 50 even. Yeah, I've done things where I did a dirt bike poster shoot 2015. I got flown to Florida to do a poster shoot and also a magazine ad, and I had no idea how to use Flash, and I had to for these. And I literally bought a Flash. I bought my
was it that really big one?
My Flashpoint Explorer 600, or Godox, whatever. They're the same thing. They're all a bunch.
Godox.
Yeah. But I bought one of those, and it came in Thursday. I left Friday morning at 4 a.m. and I got on the plane and I sat there on Google on the Wi-Fi and I learned how to use Flash. And I landed, and when I landed, I had to start shooting. And it worked out because they were some of the best pictures that I ever took of dirt bikes. And as far as print, like professional print stuff, definitely it's probably some of my best work that I've done. And it had no idea what I was doing. No, not in the slightest. I knew how to shoot dirt bikes. I didn't know how to use Flash, and that was so.
Especially fast Flash.
That was high speed sync. That was terrifying.
I don't know a single thing.
Once I read it and it clicked, and I was like, "Oh, this makes sense now." It all didn't make sense, and then I kept screwing it up throughout the day, and I was like, "Oh, now I get it now."
One of my favorite things about working in the position I am with teaching people, new people about photography, is just in right up front telling them things that will not work and how to fix them. I will before when I do my photo classes, I will mess up their settings and hand their camera back to them. Someone's gonna use your camera and someone's gonna mess something up,
or you're gonna hit a button,
and I want you to be able to fix this. And they usually don't. And then this one time, it was a husband and wife, and then the husband goes I don't know how to fix it, and he puts it to auto.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And you know what that comes back down to, and it really does. If you don't, as a filmmaker or a photographer, if you don't understand light, you shouldn't even pick up a camera, because once you understand light, you'll understand how it hits the sensor, and then from there, you know how to adjust your settings and what to adjust and why you're adjusting them. You people do things and they don't know why. You should always know why you're doing something. What?
You people do things. No, yes.
The person, I'm not just the generalization of a person that I'm talking about. And if the shoe fits, I'm sorry. And I know that it does fit a lot of people because I personally know a lot of those people. And, they don't ask. They don't ask for help. They like to just think they know. And I was guilty of it. But now, again, by dropping the ego, I'm not afraid to ask for help. If I don't know something, will be now the first person to say, I have no idea.
I'll be the first
person.
What I'm doing. Adam will be the second person.
Well, Zach's always screwing something up. Always. So that's just
I'm going to screw something up. Some part of this.
He'll probably delete this whole podcast and we'll never hear it again.
In just the testing for this, there was a bunch of noise and I was trying to fix it, and I spent.
It sounds really good though. Even with these, I'm going to burn these headphones.
Well, no, this is not going to be accurate because I can adjust your volume so I sound really loud.
Here, let me. Which one's mine plugged into? This one?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. Oh, I like that.
Oh, you'd like it really loud?
Yeah. Oh my God. I've been sitting here for 2 hours and it was so quiet. This is so much better.
Oh, it's super weird.
Really? To hear yourself back? Because that's what it is, because you don't want to, I don't know.
I try to just keep mine accurate. It's funny because I've been watching the waveforms, and it's like when I talk like this, you can see everything, but if you just talk like this, you can't see.
It's amazing how sensitive you have the mic to. Well, it's not sensitive actually because like way back here I can't hear anything. But like
actually, these are really bad mics for this. I want to get the ones that
they're not that bad. I mean,
no.
They work for. Listen, Ray Supply. Thank you for the donation for this meeting, for this podcast. But we're gonna have to upgrade for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna
you got to get the handle thing too. So it's instead of being down here, it's like up here, and
that's what I want. I'm gonna use these.
What?
Because these are the rental gear.
Yeah.
These ones aren't rentals. These ones are actually like brand new, open the box.
Well, I have like I said, I have my own good mic that I still need to find, but the only thing is it doesn't have an XLR on it. It's XLR to USB.
I want to get those really nice. The Samson. They're the Shure.
The
940 or whatever.
Yep.
The ones that Joe Rogan has.
Oh yeah.
Everyone has those nowadays. And
they're good. The quality is really good, and
I just want it because you can hear just like perfect. Like if I'm right here, it sounds the same as right here. Like right here, it's really
that sounded way different.
No, not on this.
Oh,
on this, it's like right here, it's really loud.
Okay.
Back here, it's not. On those.
Oh no, because they're they're very okay. I got it. Yeah.
It's like for some reason it has like a weird.
Well, no, the directional. It's just a smart microphone.
Yeah, like I hate.
That's why it's so expensive.
I don't like that this. If I come onto the side.
Well, that's like any shotgun mic.
Yeah.
You move, you bob and weave, and.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Like.
Yeah. But no, what I meant to ask you, what focal length are you shooting at right now?
I think I'm at like 24.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was just curious because I was looking at the monitor, but I think that I'm so mad. I should have sold you, and I sold it for so cheap. I had a 7-inch small HD 702 that I just unloaded.
You sure you want to just like let me borrow it until like I did enough?
You know what? I didn't even think about it. I should have because I was like, oh man, I'm not using this, and I just sold it, and now I regret selling it because I wish that we had the monitor just so it was
just right there. Yeah, because I can't see us at all.
We still have a lot to learn for this whole thing, but as we grow, but
podcast one, I think it's.
Podcast one has a lot. We talked about a lot of just bullshit and banter and kind of the idea and the premise of what we're trying to do here. It covered a lot. We spread pretty thin there, but as we move forward and we have new guests and we get better at this, as I get better at talking and
without talking over.
Yeah, and he gets just better at this. I think for the first one, it was pretty good. It was pretty informative.
I think it's amazing how comfortable I feel actually talking to you and then referring to a person that's just a camera.
Oh no, that's actually the best part because I was so nervous. I pulled in your driveway. I was like, oh my god, I'm so nervous right now. I don't know why because like 4 people are gonna watch this. And it was a weird feeling, but like once we started, it just feels so normal. And
the first 5 minutes,
and that's the coolest part. Even vlogging was super weird for me. Like I'm super uncomfortable vlogging still. Like Tyler's just awkward, but
oh man, that's why I love my Instagram stories. Like I should just do an Instagram story, be like, hey, just right now,
Oh my god, you should put an Instagram story up right now.
And then I'll save it, and then I'll just pop it in. Let's see. All right, so right now recording. No, it didn't even start.
Oh my god.
Ready?
Yep.
Hey, what's up? Just recording a podcast with Adam here. Say what's up, Adam.
What up?
Hey, and then I got my camera over there. It's recording everything, and then we're back that way. Looks pretty great. And then this is really awkward, but
my coffee is really cold.
Yeah. And then that was it. That was the whole Instagram thing.
Good.
It was weird because I have like a lot of my Instagram stories and my Snapchats. I have like the most energy to do stuff. Like when I do vlogs, it's like I stopped doing vlogs because it was so bad.
The vlogs are tough because the vlogs there's a lot of content you got to put in there for 5 because usually vlogs need to be roughly 5 minutes. If you want to get views and you want to like do what vlogs do, they have to be somewhat long because they have to provide some sort of entertainment for the most part. And
unless you can do the David
Luke's
Dobrik
really
thing.
good. Luke's primo at doing our editing for our Mellow Boys vlog.
Mellow Boys,
and that's actually
Mellow Boys.
Yep. Actually, so it all stemmed from, and I'll plug this is a shameless plug for the YouTube channel that we have for that. But it all started because Tyler, my best friend, rides dirt bikes. That's who I ride dirt bikes with. And he owns a graphics company for motorcycles and makes graphics for snowmobiles and dirt bikes and whatever he can make. He makes stickers. He's a sticker maker. That's pretty much what he is. And he does really well. But his company is called Merrow. And we started vlogging. And it was kind of, the vlogs are based around like just what we do. Like on the weekends, like in the summer when it's nice out, we ride dirt bikes or bicycles, or in the winter, Luke snowboards, and I snowboard, Tyler snowboards. We do that.
You just need to go to the Pastrana land or whatever.
I actually got the opportunity this summer to do some photo work with Pastrana at a race, and that was cool.
Did you get to like actually meet and talk with him? Or
No, so me and this guy that I've known for a long time, I've never really worked with him before, but he hit me up this year actually, and for Unadilla, and because they were doing a donations announcement, and he's like, hey, I need someone to do some behind the scenes photo work. He's like, can you do some for me? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, we're gonna be following Travis around all day, and I kind of like low-key fanboyed because he was the man when I was growing up with action sports.
Even for me, and I don't even motocross.
That's the thing.
Just like watching.
He's just a gnarly dude, but he's the coolest man. He's the coolest person I've ever met. Just he's so humble, and so he's got everything you could ask for, and he is so good to his fans, and it's so rare that an athlete, and especially with the star power he has, is that good with their fans. You don't see that anymore.
And it's insane because he's probably, like, people like him are probably, they see more fans on a daily basis than like anyone else. And he doesn't go crazy.
He's just he's just so cool. He's just such a laid back dude. I mean, he is high strung when he does things, but he has controlled chaos if I've ever seen any. There's
even like my cousin's son, like my cousin's husband does rally racing.
Yeah.
And he gets to bring his son around, and his son's like 9, and I got him into photography, like the 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And he got to like meet Travis Pastrana, and like
they
get him to sign stuff, and it's like it's just an insane amount of people, and like that he meets with, and get people like. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine living like you can't just like go anywhere.
No, it's just like it's like any celebrity, you know. But he's got like a cool fan base, whereas like some celebrities, they
like movie stars.
They do some bad things, and that's why they have the bad followers that they have. They have good people that follow them. That's like it goes with any celebrity. But if you give off a certain vibe and you do certain things in your personal life, they see that. Like people are. You're not. Life is not private anymore.
Yeah.
Like you put your life out there because you want other people to see it. That's what social networks live off of.
It's so weird because when I do all this stuff, it's like I don't ever think about it as like gaining fans. I think about it as just like getting work. Like
you're doing it because there's other people in the world that aren't your close friends that might actually be interested in what you're doing, and that's where the world's going to. Like instead of going after these A-list celebrities and like people, I mean, you still get those people, and you always will, that worship these people, and they're never gonna meet them, and they're so far away from their life, and they're not relatable at all. They really aren't for the most part. But you know, there's people like me and you that are relatable that might not be local, but we're into the same thing, and that's cool. So let's be friends, and let's see what if we can create something together that can offer more. For the next person.
Like, I'm not knocking the Kardashians or anything, but those are the...
Oh, no, I'll knock them all day.
But, I mean, they're, like, the largest...
They are the dumbest smart people in the world. Their mother is a marketing genius that has planned and executed so well. I mean, I shouldn't say they do all bad, because they don't, but with the amount of power they have, they could do so much more good.
And it's
so
crazy
much more good.
Because the disconnect between them and their fans is larger than any other fan base.
People
are more obsessed with them than the people like people that are in Nitro Circus, Travis Pastrana, where it's like people that like his lifestyle and the people that are his diehard fan base have usually almost the exact same lifestyle.
They live the same. Some live better. Some live better than Travis Pastrana. In the action sports world, there is people that look up to him that live a more flourished lifestyle.
Well, yeah, if he's
but he does it because he does the things he does because he loves it. He doesn't showboat anything. He just does it, and he makes cool shit because he knows that's what people want to see.
It is weird how like you do see a lot of these people that are like younger, like our age, that are like getting big, getting popular, famous, rich, and all that other stuff. And first thing they do is show off. And I was like, he's been doing this for years. He's got so much. And it's like you look at his Pastrana lamb, and it's very DIY-esque. Like it doesn't.
Well, no, because he has the right people in his camp. He has people that are ramp builders, and he has people that do this or that, but they're all good. He surrounds himself with really good people, and he's created a good culture. And I actually met his one of the people that filmed for him full time, Cody. Super cool dude. I actually was talking to him because he at Unadilla when I was doing photos. He was filming Travis obviously because he films a lot of almost all of the Nitro Circus stuff.
Wow.
And we were just chatting about camera stuff because me and him, like we've talked now since, and he's just a cool dude. And we kind of had that same, like he was Travis Pastrana's filmer, which to a lot of people is like, oh man, that's super cool. Like, and they could have bad reasons for wanting to be friends with someone like that. And me and him I don't think we've talked about anything except for cameras. Literally, that's all we've talked about is the fact that he had an FS5. I wanted to know more about it. This and that and the other, and
I really like the FS5.
The FS5 Mark II.
That isn't,
is
if only it just had the built-in raw recording.
Yeah, but then it would be a red.
I know, but it's like it's only like a couple $100 upgrade.
Oh no, the FS5 has the raw record.
Oh, it does.
The Mark II does. The Mark II comes with that, the slow motion deal and all that. It's a good camera. I loved it. I think it's great because it's only like this big, right? It's very modular too. It's very small. It's great for
I think that's why
drone or gimbal work. It's light, it's super light, but it was a good camera. I'd recommend it if you're a running gun indie shooter looking for something that shoots broadcast quality because it shoots 10-bit.
I would love it for music videos because I don't need a red for music videos.
Nobody really needs one.
Although I need to make more music videos. Like I was saying, 8 months on Brett's music video. But the first one got over 30-something thousand views, and he's like, this is his first music video ever. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good for...
That's not for a bunch of kids that don't know what they're doing.
Literally no idea. We still don't know what we're doing. No, like literally we're editing this morning, and like we just like cut. There's a shot where it was half his face, and then the rest was blank, and I just had like a colored light on it.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I took his shot and I like flipped it and then reversed it so that way you could see him half his face this way and then half his face the other way.
Yeah.
And it just looked dope. Like it was in the same shot, and it was like me focusing, so it's like you see two of them. And it was like just like we were goofing around, and he was like, "No, that's actually like wicked sick." I was just like,
"See, that's the cool thing about music videos.
Yeah,
is you can do whatever you want in them, and because the music is usually, especially a rap music video, you can do some crazy shit. And your music video stuff is good, and I would like to use." As I can upgrade the production stuff, like I would like to see where we could go, because your editing with music videos is good if you can see it through in a decent amount of time.
The hardest part is that with a music video, for me, is that you record 50 takes, and that you have to choose between 50 different things that only take up.
Just don't give yourself so many options. That's the reasoning for that.
Well, we only did like a couple takes, but that was because he would mess up. So we have to cover the song at least entirely with one bass.
You really should I shouldn't say only, because obviously every situation is different, but you per piece, when you piece the video together, if you planned it out that way, you should really only do like 4 or 5 takes per each thing.
Actually, there's a lot to learn from it.
Oh my God, there's it's like anything. It's like filming weddings. You learn that aspect of it, how to tell a story out of 8 hours of footage, and the same thing with a music video. And what message are you conveying? And
I know the next time I do a music video, it sucked because it was just me and Brett for most of it. So it's like next time I do one, biggest thing is that have someone on set that can have you do a timestamp, like or a take clip. And then mark it with like a solid like noise. So that
are you timing it? Are you doing a sound time?
No. Okay. But so when you're recording a music video, it's like, say you record the entire 3-minute song.
Yeah.
And the first half of it was just shit. So the second half is good. Okay, so like, all right, now you need to record the first half.
Yeah.
Or it's like, okay, now you need to get this middle part. Like we went back all the footage, and this one clip just doesn't have a single good take. So it's like just doing that. But like, what if you recorded the whole 3 minutes and it's like only that one part was good, but you're not going to remember that when it comes to editing. So having something where you have the marker, you put it up in front of the camera when you first record, and then you actually take, this is a big tip I learned from Film Riot, where it's like you actually have the song, and then but before the song you have another track that has beeps. So that way you have time to sync up the song before just trying to jumble along with the music, because sometimes syncing up the audio is really hard.
Yeah.
So you have something where it has 3 like beep, 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 and then the song starts. You can always sync up those 3 lines. So that way the music track is always lined up. But let's say that take wasn't good. In your notes, write down, okay, take 4. Only the second.
Well, there's definitely a lot more planning that goes into it too, and the post is just as important when you're cataloging it. You have to unfortunately watch it and be like, okay, this is trash, this is trash, this is trash.
That's the part where I'm gonna prep now with.
But then if you're not good at that, you bring someone on that is.
No, that's just it. I'm good at it, but I can't do all of it at one time. So when we're going through all the footage, we have all these different takes, and I don't remember what it is, so we have to watch the entire thing. And it's like you can't just skip over it, because it's like if you're looking.
Tell Brett to be better.
I know, Brett.
Brett,
suck,
we
dude.
still haven't met, but you need to be better because you're stressing Zach out.
Oh man, people love Brett. Brett's like such a character.
Man, what another tangent. What time is it? We're gonna wrap this up.
We should
folks,
wrap it up. We should purposely.
Because I know that you're definitely sick of hearing me.
This is gonna be one of those clips where I'm gonna split it up into a.
I think you have some good stuff you can pull. I honestly do. Some of it definitely don't, but you should burn it at the stake. But
that's fine. I'm not gonna cut any of it. Like it's gonna be full raw, like footage.
Yeah, we're just gonna upload 2.5 hours of just me and Zach talking banter.
Dude, this is gonna be a big video file.
Oh, it's gonna. I don't think YouTube's gonna ban you because it's gonna be so.
No, but that's what's really cool. A lot of potential. We're not gonna talk about it right now. I'll make a separate clip if that's necessary.
Yeah.
And I will cut that one up. In the meantime, it's 10:03.
It's late. It's Sunday.
It wouldn't have been so late if you weren't an hour late.
I wasn't an hour late. I was 45 minutes late.
Okay.
Anyways, and I'm always late. And please go watch the videos that I'm in with Tyler and Luke.
I did see that
because they actually.
One that I watched.
You
were a few hours late, and you like.
You know what? I think you should throw that up. I think he'll link that, or
I'm gonna link everything.
He'll put it in the video.
I'll definitely link
that little piece of them shit talking to me about being late. I'm always late, But the thing is, I may be late, but I'm right on time always. So, with that said, it's been fun. This has been good. I can't wait to see where we go with this. And you with getting all this together is super impressive, actually.
I can't wait to have a guest that lets me actually host. Just kidding. Actually, this was good. I wanted you to be able to talk about yourself, and that's exactly because I learned some stuff about you that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I've known you for about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
And which is crazy that we've actually done all this stuff together in that short amount of time.
In a short amount of time, and it's came to this, and I'm glad that I could. Again, I said this earlier, but I'm glad that I was able to be the person that pushed you to finally,
the only thing is
do these things.
Now we can't talk outside of these podcasts.
No, we can, but if we have an idea,
be
like, hey, I got an idea. I'm gonna write it down, and
I'm really good at writing stuff down. That's another thing. I'm probably gonna make I'll have to make a podcast about myself, which is weird, but I want to be able to go over some things that I have.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it's a podcast. It's just gonna be a one-off video and be like a quick 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
And then share that with everyone, and that can also be.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, this is good, and I'm excited to see the people that want to get involved and come on this and be a part of this process and see where it takes us, and hopefully we can make some good change locally in our community, the creative community, and
of course for those that aren't local, hopefully they can help push.
When I say local, I mean I'm willing to put a 75-mile radius because that's not that far.
75 miles. I'm just thinking.
Somewhat local. I mean, even Josh in Burlington's not that far. It's a day trip, but it would be worth it to do, to collab of any, that's the thing. It's the same thing going to Albany or whatever. But I just hope that we can, be that, even if it's a small piece of the puzzle, like what we can do and what you can do and the things that I can provide and other people within our creative group can provide. I think that we can make a small imprint and as long as we stick to it. So
I will provide the voice because I have the equipment.
Yep, and I'll provide the video.
I'm providing everything at this moment.
Yeah,
I gave you coffee.
you did, but I did provide these fantastic Walmart headphones. Which by the next time you see me, I will have a much nicer pair.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
because
stick with
these
my
things
earbuds.
are trash. And
these earbuds kind of hurt.
My ears are killing right now. They hurt so bad. But yeah, no, it's been fun. Thank you for having me. This is good. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah.
So like, subscribe, comment, tag your friends.
Make sure to share this for all the people that are just listening.
Yeah, all 4 of you that are listening, please just tell a friend. If there's anything in here that is informative that helped you, let us know below. Thank you.
I will be linking everything down below. I'm gonna have someone remind me because I'm not gonna go back over this podcast and see what I promised.
We didn't really promise anything. We just promised more content.
We did talk about a good group amount of people though, so I should probably link them.
Oh, well, the people that we did talk about, we'll link them, and as we talk about more people, you'll get to know them on a more personal level like this, and we'll introduce them, throughout this whole process. And if you want to be a part of it and join, then the more the merrier. This is what we need. So, thanks for listening.
All right. No more words. Goodbye. Ooh. If you notice at the end of my other video that I made, I said, I started to say, see you in the next video. But I was like, wait, no, I just looking at a camera.